No, I'm just saying the name is disingenuous, and so is the take. Like, it's not the bubonic plague, so
I'm trying to explain to you sociology at this point, right? And you're asking me why it is that people are fighting back against the idea, and that's exactly why people are fighting back against that idea.
Okay,
you don't have to agree or disagree. I don't really give a fuck either way, but the fact of the matter is that if people, right, saw the types of shit that was happening then, now, we wouldn't even be having a conversation as to whether or not people were willing to give up civil liberties to their body to the government in this instance.
People don't trust.
It's not enough. Wait. It's not enough death, right? It needs more people need to die for us to take this serious. Is what you're saying?
I'm saying that when that starts happening, you'll see the minds of people change to start taking the thing to the serious degree that it would be at if you had those numbers then. But right now,
yeah, I'm super cool.
Welcome to the Hippy Recruitment. So Hippy Recruitment every Sunday 6 p.m. EST. The main show hosted by Dylan every Friday, 8 p.m. EST. So yeah, tune in if you like panel, if you like Bloodsport, if you like politics, if you like CTV, you know, you find all of these things. So yeah, let's start with a quick round of intros. So yeah, tell people who you are, where they can find you and everything. And we're going to start with someone I haven't seen in a long time. How are you doing, Trix?
I'm good. I just work all the time, so I'm not really active much. I'm Australian. It's 9 a.m. for me at the moment. And my city finally has COVID, so I can finally talk about stuff. I know what the masks are now. I know what the vaccine things are. I get it. After 2 years.
Wow.
I'm ready.
Happy that your city got COVID. That's a hard take to start with. A4Andre, how are you doing?
Eek, how have you been? It's been a long time since I've done like an official panel. I've hopped into like CTVs, but I'm super happy to be back in this space, especially with you. My favorite host, I'm just doing this for you and Dana, but really, I'm glad. I miss you guys. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, always happy to have you on, you know? So yeah, Bars and Joystick. Sorry,
hey guys, how's it
your name.
Yeah. Well, my channel is called Bars and Joysticks, and my channel mates get really mad at me when people just call me Tajman John. I'm Tajman John, but like my channel's Bars and Joysticks, so pretty much social democrat. My channel goes over things like hip hop, video games, music. That's hip hop bars, you know, and joysticks, video games, and also like bar for bar, like going bar for bar with people, exchanging ideas and things like that.
That's pretty
Glad
cool.
to be here.
And where can people find you?
Yeah, so on Twitch, our channel is called Bars and Joysticks, and our YouTube channel, which you put significantly more effort in, it's called Bars and Joysticks on YouTube.
All right. Okay. Happy to have you on board. Montreal
thanks
player.
for having me.
Montreal player.
Oh, hello. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Montreal player. Father of 3 vaxxed teens and father of 1 unvaxxed 6-year-old. You can find me at twitch.tv/Montreal player. I usually have chill chats with people somewhere around 9:30 to 11 o'clock, and that's it. I'll bring my experience and as far as what relates to the situation in Quebec. All right. If you want to make jokes about people in Quebec, well, and you also chastise people for making ethnic jokes, you're a hypocrite and a bigot. Other than that, welcome. All right. That's it. That's my little intro.
All right. HonestResearch. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing great. My name is, I go by Luke Ryan online. Pronouns, whatever you want. I really don't mind. And I am here on Twitch at HonestResearch, and if you donate to me, it goes directly to my nonprofit to help homeless in my community. So there you go.
That's pretty cool. If you want, you can post the link in my chat or in the group for people who want to plug that in. But yeah, that's
cool.
pretty
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Mind of Foes, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us.
What's up? So as you can tell, my bird's going crazy in the background. I apologize for that. I am the Mind of Z. I stream on the Mind of Z or the US political server because I like to keep one chat civil, one chat non-civil, lol. And yeah, I'm a good friend of CTV's.
Hell yeah. So I've been pronouncing your name wrong. So for some reason, I always thought this was Mind of Us. But yeah.
No. So it's funny. So everyone does it. I'm debating about just changing my name to the Mind of Oz just to make everyone happy. It annoys me, but whatever.
All right. Volp, how are you doing?
Good. How are you? So you can find me at HoodieVolp on Twitch and Twitter. I like to chat about politics and play some video games. So this can be my first real Twitch panel. So I'm really excited. Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you on board. All right. So are we missing someone?
Somebody opted out.
Oh,
Now
Montreal.
they're back.
Okay. So
Alright.
I'll be
I
right
did
back.
pretty
You can
much.
watch my cool background.
Yep, that's everybody.
Pretty much everyone beside the main boss for the Conservative. How are you doing, CTV?
Oh, I'm doing outstanding, Geek. How was your weekend?
Doing okay, work
Good,
and stuff.
good. You got a great cast of characters here tonight. Let me explain to you what's going to be going on tonight. This is, in fact, the Hippy Dippy recruitment show, right? You have an opportunity here to be able to bring a character into the Hippy Dippy world and make it alive, right? You get to be something other than yourself in this sphere. That's the great fucking thing about it, right? You get to be an actor on the Hippy Dippy stage. Understand, there are two teams here. There are conservatives, right? And then or the right and the left. Fucking, yeah. The right and the left as a fucking broad brush, right? A broad fucking brush for you to be able to understand what your team is, right? So whenever the people in the audience are watching the show, that's what they see. So you may not like somebody that's on your fucking team. Well, you know what? I don't know what to fucking tell you. Get over your fucking self and fucking fight this shit out. That being said, welcome. I know that we've got some good topics tonight. The first one's going to be kind of lighthearted to get you comfortable with everybody in the room. But don't forget, when that second topic comes around, there's going to be people waiting to smack you upside the head. It's going to happen. I'm telling you, I've seen it after a whole fucking year of doing this shit. Somebody is going to be out there chasing that clout. You know why? Because they're in the fucking Hippy Dippy arena, baby. That's what we do around here. And ain't nobody got more than me. So let's fucking go. Let's get into it. It's going to be motherfucking great. Happy to see everybody. Geek, let's kick it off.
Hell yeah, let's go. So before we start with the first topic, let's go around with the rules and everything. So we're gonna have one fun topic, one serious topic in the middle, and one fun topic to end on a good note. Each topic will go like this. You're gonna have an opening statement, 2 minutes max. I'm going to get the timer soon. So yeah, opening statement, period where you can engage, where you can debate with each other, and closing statement. The last time you can address a topic is during the opening of the next topic. Do not interrupt during opening and closing. And if you want to talk during like the open part and you see that you can chime in, raise your hand and I will try to give you the mic as soon as possible. Besides that, nothing TOS. I think we all want to keep our channels and yeah, respects everyone's identity. So yeah, pronouns and stuff like that. With that being said, let's jump into the first topic. And I hope you're ready for this one. All right. Pokemon. Bulbasaur is the undisputed greatest of all time starter Pokemon. But is Bulbasaur a frog, a turtle, a dinosaur, or something else entirely? All right. And we're going to start with A4Andre.
Oh, what a nice topic to have. It's so cool. I feel it's tailor-made to me. For those of you who don't know, I ditched politics to open up a pretty lucrative Pokemon card shop. Long story. Yeah, but one thing I talk about on my stream that I'm sure about, more sure than any of my other political takes, is that Bulbasaur is a frog, and that the name Saur, indicating that he's a dinosaur, is disingenuous at best, if I'm being charitable, but evil at worst. I think it's quite evil for us to call this Pokemon a dinosaur. Quite literally, it's an onion frog, onion toad. And if you debate me, you will lose. I'm a Pokemon master. I've defeated several gyms. Come at me.
What if a dinosaur has frog DNA? Is it? Is
This,
it then a dinosaur?
sure, but this one does not.
Wait, is this
Why would you say
opening
that?
statements? Is this
Yeah, I
opening
thought this was
statements, or
opening
did we
statements, Montreal. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Relevant
I
question.
allowed one
Geek,
question. I allowed one
Geek,
question to
I
precise.
just gave you back the reins, and then you've let him get out of control already. Let me rein it back in, right? Opening
All right.
statements, right? We're going by the fucking numbers. Geek, give me the numbers. Let's go.
All right. Then Montreal player.
Oh, seriously, I didn't. Okay, well, yeah, it just raises an interesting question. If a dinosaur has frog DNA to integrate its parts, is it then a dinosaur? Really? I mean, clearly, given the frog nature of Bulbasaur, not a dinosaur according to A4Andre, and this is somewhat of a contentious question in some circles. Maybe CTV can tell you more. I don't know, but that's it. Other than that, no experience with Pokemon. Although my 6-year-old is starting to get into it and watch it, so maybe I'm gonna have to learn soon, but I'm not quite there yet. Yeah, that's it. Bulbasaur. So it's a frog. Okay, that's right. It's a frog that has like some kind of blooming thing on its back, right? Is that it?
Correct.
Is that it? Okay. And what was the question about it? Is it the best Pokemon to start with?
Is it a dinosaur, a frog, or something else entirely?
Okay. Well, I mean, right. I mean, it's not a frog because it has, onion parts, right? So it's not quite a frog either, right? I guess you can't really call it a frog. It's not a frog. A frog is something very specific, right? And this thing has onion parts. It's something entirely. It's maybe frog-like. Maybe frog-like might have parts in common with a frog. Maybe if you change the definition of frog, all right, or only used certain aspects of it to describe its frogginess, then in that context it would be a frog, right? But not holistically an entire frog. I yield my time.
All right. I'm going to throw it to HonestResearch, who seem ready for the topic.
Thank you. Okay, so obviously I'm a Bulbasaur expert, so this is very easy. But one of my biggest issues with Montreal's statement is probably the fact that he brought up genetics. When we determine speciation and the difference between groups and phylums and everything like that, the amount of genetic similarity usually isn't actually a determinant factor. It's usually whether or not something's able to breed. And when we talk about Pokemon in particular, Pokemon obviously has a lot of really bad mixed terms. They have evolution, which is not evolution the way that we know it, but we look at egg groups and we look at specific species. And obviously Bulbasaur, it doesn't matter if it's a dinosaur or a plant or what it is, because it's a Pokemon and its species is Bulbasaur. So with that, I yield.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Trick Switch.
Andre, we've been friends for a while, but I gotta disagree. Bulbasaur is not a frog. And I don't care what he is, but it's not frog, because if you've seen, first of all, his facial structure, wrong. His walk cycle, what frog walks like one at a time? Frogs do the two. If you just look at any aspect of him, he's not a frog. I don't care what he is, but it's not that.
God damn. Okay. First of all, this wonderful topic was brought to you by Danabo, twitch.tv/Danabo. I didn't thought it was going to go that scientific, but I'm happy with it. Mind of Z, go ahead.
Hashtag blame Danabo.
Okay, so number one, it's not a frog. I agree with Trix on what they said on how the walking does and the facial features. What I do say is, what if it's not an onion? What if it's a Brussels sprout? Because if you look at the back, it kind of looks like a Brussels sprout if you at first glance. So that's all I have to say.
All right. That's an interesting question. Bath and Joystick.
Yeah, so my take on the Bulbasaur thing, it's close to frog. It's like frog-like, but I wouldn't call it a frog. I think it's more dinosaur-like. If you look at like any picture of a frog, you'll notice that a frog's hind legs are a certain type of way. They're kind of bent like an arm or an elbow. Bulbasaur is more like dog-like, I'd say. So that leads me to give it the dinosaur prescription solely because of its hind legs. It doesn't fully fit that frog prescription at all. Plus, like, its evolutions and things also imply dinosaurtivity. So that's my stance right there. And also, it doesn't have a pre-evolution of a tadpole, so how could it be a frog?
This is hate speech.
True. Vote.
All right, I'm gonna come up with the hottest take that we've seen so far, and that Bulbasaur is absolutely not the best starter Pokemon. It's by far Charmander, and that is objectively true. And I will hear nothing else about that. And that's the rest of my case.
Yeah, can we kick this guy or something?
Oh, well, no, not yet.
It beats grass, I win.
Wait.
Opening statements, Trixie!
Exactly.
Or Trix, sorry.
All right.
It is
CTV.
Trixie, actually. Good job.
CTV.
All right, so I'm going to be honest with everybody, and wait here for a moment. What the fuck is this Pokemon shit? I don't know a fucking thing about Pokemon. Why the fuck am I being asked about Pokemon right now? The only thing that I know for sure, right, is that as soon as I'm sitting here listening, they tell me that this Bulbasaur character is somehow a frog and a dinosaur and some other shit, right? I don't know. I'll tell you what, let's take this back to some movie lore, right? The only creatures that I'm aware that comes anywhere close to this description is, in fact, the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. Okay? They started off with frog DNA. Somehow, they had the fucking lysine deficiency, were able to keep surviving. I don't know. This clearly seems to me like some Pokemon type shit, right? So maybe, just maybe, you've expanded my fucking understanding of the Jurassic Park world more into some kind of Pokemon at the same thing. And maybe, I don't know, this makes some other sense in other categories for why it is that I'm Dylan's favorite Pokemon to throw into a fucking debate. So I don't fucking know, right? But Bulbasaur's here, bitches, right? That's the stance. Take it down.
Yeah. And with that being said, the floor is yours.
Okay, I gotta hop in here because there were some really dangerous takes, and we gotta talk about our rhetoric here. First of all, it's weird that like someone not only like taught their dad how to use Twitch.tv, but they let him co-host the show. If you don't know what Pokemon is, old man, just sit down and let the kids have their moment. Next, I thought I liked you because your name has joysticks in it, and I'm a retired fighting game professional, traveled around the world, won lots of tournaments. We don't have to have a parade or anything. I'm really good, but dog equals dino? What does this take? You said Bulbasaur looks like a dog, therefore it is a dinosaur. I hope when we get to the real topics, you've come prepared. And then Montreal player, I guess I just have a problem with boomers on this panel. You said it has an onion on its back, so it can't be a frog. Like, what is this? In the Pokemon world, Bulbasaur is very, very important, okay? Not only is it a frog, not only does it have an onion on its back, it has fucking cat ears, right? You put cat ears, not a dino again, you put cat ears on a Pokemon, it enhances its cuteness. No, let me finish, Shades. I'm not done. You put cat ears on a Pokemon, it becomes everyone's favorite. And honestly, to the point from the very handsome man, I forgot your name, friend. Charmander is great because he grows into Charizard, but like basic Charmander is just kind of basic, right? Bulbasaur is like green, onion. It's an onion blossom. It's a toad. It's cat ears. It's got little like toenails. It's like really, really fucking cute. But I would agree that Charmander grows into Charizard. Those are like fairly based take, and I'm definitely right about this.
I mean, doesn't the frog have a? You know what? I'll let Trixie go.
Okay, I'm wondering why you think it's frog in the first place. First of all, the eyelids. Frogs have translucent eyelids that have webbing on them. Bulbasaur just has full eyelids. The walk cycle's different, and also Bulbasaur's tongue doesn't match that of the frog at all, which is like the most iconic aspect of it. So other than being a small green thing, what part of him screams frog?
Should I reply to that, or?
I mean, I am going to just, counteract my whole argument, but I don't really care. I see where Andre's coming from this, because it is pretty hard for a cartoon designer to actually, in their day and age, create a frog with the type of. I mean, now it's easy. Now it's easy, but when was Bulbasaur? When was Bulbasaur like brought into the game? Like 20 years.
90s,
When it
early
started?
90s, yeah. 25 years ago.
So a lot
Just
has
over
changed with the
25.
technology, and yeah. That's
Yeah,
what I
but
said.
to quickly respond to Trix's question, I'm sorry, Montreal, you can go the floor after this. I've just Googled it. Ken Sugimori, the designer of Bulbasaur, has confirmed that its evolutions, it and its evolutions are based on both onions and frogs. So I rest my case. Next topic.
Real quick,
Okay,
I want
well,
to
hold on a
That
second.
would be a really
McGree just
good
said this
better
outside.
way.
Got said.
Like if I drew
Sorry,
you a
sorry,
horse
I
and if I told
forgot-
you it was an airplane, would that be an
real quick.
airplane?
Sorry, I forgot to mention one big rule. When I speak, it's to moderate for now. So when I speak, no one speak. I want to throw it real quick to HonestResearch, and after that, Montreal. Sorry.
He actually meant that he needed to me to point out that you don't piss off the angry Frenchman in the fucking room, okay?
That's right.
That's what you don't do, right? Okay.
All right, so I really don't care that much about the frog and dinosaur debate, but if we're actually going to talk about competitive efficacy, why are we saying that Charizard is better than Bulbasaur when it literally has to use its held item slot just to not have half its HP drained? Okay, all right, sorry, I'm done.
I'm gonna bring it back a little bit here. So I have a chatter telling me that according to the Pokédex, the scientists are actually still unaware whether to call Bulbasaur an animal or a plant. So I think that if we bring the debate back to that, then I'm not really sure where we go
You
from
can't
there.
follow the science on this one. You can't
If
follow
it's
the
any
science
plant,
on-
it's cabbage. If it's any plant, it's cabbage.
I do
yeah,
like
know
a
that
Mind of
onion
Z's
shit.
take on it being a Brussels sprout, because that bulb does kind of look like a Brussels sprout back there.
It grows in. I want to hear from Montreal, but it grows into like a tree. Venusaur has like a giant tree on its back, so I don't know if it. Also, Brussels sprouts are not good, so I disagree with that.
Brussels
Okay.
sprouts are terrible. I will say that. I'll agree with you there.
How can this thing be a frog? I'm sorry. When amphibians or something develop some new, adaptation to the environment and have some abilities and stuff, they become like a whole other animal. Okay, they evolve into a lizard or whatever. Okay, so a frog. Okay, we all know what a frog is. Okay, there's a certain kind of like, maybe you could say a toad is kind of a frog, but we even have a different word for that. Okay, there's kind of like a narrow set of like physical characteristics that go into frog. This thing has a ton of different things. How is it not its own kind of a thing with like frog-like qualities? But don't lizards also have frog-like qualities? Are lizards frogs? No. Okay.
Yeah.
So
if we're getting to like an actual debate, none of the creatures in Pokemon are actually animals. They're all monsters, hence the name pocket
Boo.
monsters. But it sort
therefore,
of
again,
ruins
not
the.
a frog.
They're
Yeah,
not
but it's so
monsters to me.
it certainly ruins the like debate of like a frog.
Well, yeah,
or dinosaur.
no, I think he actually has a point. I think if we were gonna like actually design a tree of like real animals and then Pokemon would be their own family. So it'd be like Plant Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Pokemon Kingdom.
Yeah, they're like monsters in their own.
Yeah.
But also, you really disrespected Charizard, and I take that as a personal insult. As I run a Pokemon card shop.
Bro, I
check
just
us
had your
out.
back. Get out of here.
No, you were insulting Charizard. The name of my shop is Only Zards. It's my OnlyFans and my Only Zards.
Look,
That's where
I
you
was
get.
just saying,
That's how I
if
make the
we're
money.
gonna talk
And
about competitive efficacy.
Okay.
We have to-
Okay. So if you're actually gonna go down this route, number one, why would you get a grass character or whatever it is, the leaf character? I used to be a Pokemon geek and I'm not. So whatever you want to call it, the green character, whatever Bulbasaur types is versus a fire type. Of course, the fire type's gonna be the grass type because in real life, fire burns grass.
Yeah,
Real
but
quick, Sorry, I
okay.
want to throw it to Trix.
Oh wow,
Um,
Andre's not even in chat. Amazing.
Which
So-
chat? Sorry.
Okay, sorry. My quick thing is that frogs have eyes on the side of their heads because they aren't predator animals. Why the fact that Bulbasaur has front-facing eyes implies that it hunts other animals, which isn't very frog-like. So I'm gonna dismiss that. But it is a bit more dinosaur-like. Also, the fact that he has those little claws things on his feet. That's a bit more dinosaur to me. I'm not really hearing. I'm also let's get a bit meta with it. Death to the author. Just because someone can create an art piece saying it's about something, say a bullshit onion and a bullshit frog, doesn't mean that it has to continue being that. It's been a while, and an author's intention isn't always how it's going to be received or how it's going to be modified through the years. It may have started like that, but that got quickly dismissed when everyone saw it and went, dinosaur. Cabbage.
George Lucas, J.K. Rowling.
Is our
They're 100%
definition of
right.
frog and or dinosaur also like socially constructed? There's our ideal of like what a dinosaur or frog is supposed to be. Okay, and this thing, okay, because it has frog-like characteristics, and why can't it be happy with its frog identity?
You know what,
No.
Andre? Here's the fact of the matter. Here's the fact of the matter. You want to say old man earlier, right? Let me tell you exactly how old this man is. I'm so old that I know exactly where the fuck Pokemon came from, right? And you know where they came from? Them little motherfucking Tamagotchis them motherfuckers was carrying around
You're
and
just
fucking
wrong. You're
feeding.
just wrong.
Oh no, that's where the shit started out, right? Cause see, right as Tamagotchis, right? Then here came the Pokemons, and that's where the real shit, Legend of Zelda, was carrying the fucking Nintendo brand before that, right? So if you ain't got shit to say, I know you ain't got shit to say now, because I just took the whole origins of the thing and ripped it apart and showed you just how timid and fragile, right, that your ideas are. And Bulbasaur can be whatever the fuck Bulbasaur wants to identify as. That's how I feel about it.
Can we do a round of applause because Grandpa named like 4 video games? I'm so, like you said, Zelda and Pokemon and like 3 other. I'm just so proud of you.
You just named 4 grandpa video games.
I'm inspired by that. I'm inspired by that.
You're still making waves today.
Completely, what, old people? Completely unrelated.
No, those
conversation.
Those titles. Okay, are
I once. Who cares, bro? See me in Fortnite. I once had a Tamagotchi and it died. I watched the movie Titanic.
Yeah, more like a
3 hours long.
Tamagotchi.
Oh shit. Anyways, the Titanic was too long and my Tamagotchi died, and that's why I talk politics on Twitch. I'm depressed. So sad.
I've done some research, and there is a species called Beelzebuffer ampigna, and it is a very particularly specific breed of large prehistoric frog dinosaurs. And Bulbasaur and all them things are pretty big for frogs, but they do have dinosaur aspects, and they're quite large. So they could just be this very niche species of dinosaur they just discovered.
Yeah, the left does. They try to trick you with fake news. It's a fucking frog.
It's not a frog. You admitted it wasn't a frog before. You admitted it wasn't a frog before. You diverted the whole thing. Okay, then you went to an ad hominem. Result won the debate. Okay, I won the debate. Pokemon Ignoramus won the debate. Thank you.
You won the debate by not engaging. Are Pokemon real creatures? No, I win. That's not. You don't win.
No, it's not a frog. It's not. You asserted it was a frog.
It's a video game.
Presented arguments. You can't come back. Debate won. Thank you.
You raising your voice confirms what Dana Bo said, that you're a Republican, filthy Republican.
That's right. I'm on the conservative side. Correct.
It's the red in the back.
I mean, like, either we engage in this or not. The idea that like we can just opt out and say that it's not a frog is kind of the like obvious take. It's kind of a cold, lukewarm. Like, who gives a fuck? It's some pocket monster. It's obviously not a real creature. But if it had to be a real creature, it'd have to be a frog with cat ears, which I would assume Trix is a fan of. But whatever.
You piece of shit.
I didn't say anything else. I just no one else. You and I are the only ones who knew that.
Wow. You see what he did there, Trix? That was dirty. That was dirty. Yeah.
I'll get him back for it.
You know, then do it. I want to see it right now. Right now, while it's fresh. What are you doing?
You're like putting 2 little action figures in like a pit, and you're like, go guys.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots, that's the next one, right? So let's fucking go.
That's another game that came out and died way before I was born. I'll
right,
Google
so
that
you're
later.
getting a history lesson, right? You're supposed to be new and hip with this Pokemon shit. Let's go with it.
So when I was researching the ancient prehistoric frogs, your channel came up. And...
My channel came up?
No, CTV's.
What?
Oh god.
CTV's apostle.
Okay, but if we're gonna say that Bulbasaur, if we're gonna say that it's some kind of animal, then what the fuck happens to all of those Pokemon that are just food but alive?
I mean, it's tough. There's like thousands of Pokemon. I have no idea what all of them are. I like the ones that are like car keys or trash bags or candles. I like the inanimate object Pokemon. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
People
always talk about the ethics. People always talk about the ethics of eating. Hold on, you're a vegan, so you'll love this. The ethics of eating Pokemon is boring. It's been done. What are the ethics of using Pokemon? The candlestick Pokemon? What if you just had that on your mantle? Thoughts?
Yeah,
Use
no,
it
I
for
think
what?
That's
Use
the
it for what
exploitation.
exactly?
What if the Pokemon gets enjoyment out of it?
Oh, so it isn't.
No, it's like literally a candle.
Is there a lasagna? Is there a lasagna Pokemon?
Probably.
If we're gonna talk morality of Pokemon,
If there was
in
a
general,
vibrator Pokemon, would that be
I think we have to get into consent.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
you're
I
just
mean-
locking
Okay,
a Pokemon in
no.
a ball for its whole life.
All right, we're devolving too much. I think it's a good place to.
It takes care of its health. It feeds it. It does all of that. So why are we talking about consent when really the animal has no choice?
Because Pokemon are obviously smarter than our animals, but he was talking. Please let Geek finish.
That's just common sense, honestly.
Okay, quick reminder. I'm going to be a bitch with that one, but yeah. Quick reminder, rule number 1, when I speak, it's to moderate. So please, okay. Yeah, I think it's a good place to end. This was just like a quick intro, a fun topic, just to get everyone, in the mood for the panel. So yeah, I think let's go into closing statement for this one. And let's start with Buzz and Joystick.
Yeah, so my closing statements are that I think we can all agree that Andre's full of shit, and also that Bulbasaur is a dinosaur. Okay, with the name Saur, its hind legs are clearly that of something that's not a frog. There's no tadpole pre-evolution of the Bulbasaur to begin with. Plus, I say so. So that's 4 good reasons, and that's my closing statement for that.
All right. Since you directed something to Andre, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a flawed argument. I would rather reply to everyone's arguments because you're all wrong. But if I'm just going to address this one, the idea, Greninja evolves from, Frogadier, which doesn't start as a tadpole. It's silly. And if you don't know your Pokemon, you know your Pokemon. Sit the topic out if you don't know. But I do know. I am an expert, as I'm an expert on all things. And you'll hear that in the coming conversations. This is fun. I'm glad you invited me.
Yeah. Happy to have you on board. I was saying in Dynamos chat that, my face hurts so much from smiling. So thank you, everyone, for being here. I really enjoyed this show a lot. So, yeah, thank you so much. Montreal player, go.
Bulbasaur, not a frog. I think we all know it. Everybody agrees. Okay, this is a consensus. Okay, and you have to listen to the data here. All right, it's not a dinosaur. It's not a frog. It's its own species, and that's it. And those games that CTV mentioned, the Boomer games, those titles endure to this day. All right, which means there was some quality about them that was so fantastic. Okay, that they had to continue them. Just like today, there's no new movies. It's all remakes of some stuff that people my age, grew up with. All right, you people, you young people, you just make copies. You make shallow copies of things. Okay, and they're terrible. They're terrible. Movies today are terrible. Older movies are better. Just like those games, had timeless quality to them. They're Lindy. They're better, and it's proved because of how long they last and how they have to be emulated and copied. Okay, all this to say, much better here. Okay, terrible arguments here. Not a frog. All right, thank you.
All right, HonestResearch.
I'm gonna go open a garage door.
Okay. I think we're putting the cart before the horse a little bit. There's no point in arguing whether or not Bulbasaur is a frog or a dinosaur if there are still people out there who don't understand that Charizard being 4 times weak to rock is an absolute detriment to his competitive viability. That's right, Andre. You can't reply. I yield.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Trix.
Bulbasaur used to be my favorite. My current favorite is now Phantump. And I think that you know what? At the end of the day, no one's arguing for Squirtle. And I think that means we're all winners. Thanks.
Volp, go ahead.
I'm still going to reinstate the fact that Charizard literally cooks Bulbasaur, eats him alive. I guess not alive. He probably tortures him first and then eats him. And then, again, one more time, Squirtle greater than Charizard anyway, so.
Sorry, I'm still frustrated by what Trix said. Mind of Flea, go ahead.
It's clear that Bulbasaur is not a frog. It's just common sense. And that's pretty much all I have to say.
People have spoken.
All right, and last but not least, CTV.
Well, history, folks. Right, we took down Andre. Right, we showed the origins of the Pokemon to the Tamagotchis. Right, and it turned into a Tamagotchi. Right. Fact of the matter is that the favorite and best Pokemon of anybody out there in the debate world is, guess what, CTV, and currently right? Dylan Burns is in possession of said Pokemon, right? So I don't know what to tell you. I've got this shit wrapped up all the way around, and CTV for the win. That's it.
I think CTV is a Digimon, not a Pokemon.
That could be its own debate. But yeah. So yeah, before jumping into the next topic, I just wanted to say, first of all, thank you to all of you for being here. So everyone in everyone's chat, go follow a wonderful panelist, you know. Doesn't matter your community, the community you're from. Follow is free, it always helps, you know. So yeah, go check out our wonderful panelists. They 100% deserve it. And also, if you're all here, it's because you got an invite from Danabo, who's doing a wonderful work behind the scene, coming up with topics like this, inviting people not only for like the recruitment show, but like for the main show. So yeah, we got Paradigm not too long ago on the recruitment. He went on the main show like this Friday. So yeah, if you want to try your luck, join Danabo's Discord. You know, you got all the info and everything. And yeah, with that being said, let's jump into the main topic, which is Omicron, every time, Omicron, vaccine mandates and quarantine guidelines. So, are vaccine mandates effective in the current political climate? Are the new CDC quarantine guidelines sufficient or necessary? With the Omicron variant being described as mild or less severe, is it time to loosen restrictions and get back to normalcy? So with that, I'm going to start with Volp. You're muted.
Muted.
Okay, there we go. Sorry. Save the best for first. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna start off on a go by point there. So, say, are vaccine mandates effective in the current political climate? I'll start that with, it depends on where. If you look at schools in the military, they've been enforcing vaccine mandates forever. Private businesses, not so much. There's been no relative boost in vaccination rate due to the mandate. 66% of respondents to a large survey say that they are in favor of some sort of control measures. So it's kind of proof that people do care about COVID, not necessarily just the vaccine mandate, though. And then there's evidence, especially with Omicron, that masks and social distancing are proving to be a much better measure for protecting from the spread of COVID than the vaccine is. Vaccine mandates have, in my opinion, become some sort of virtue signal to show that you are of higher morality than those who refuse to get the vaccine. So that kind of ties it back into the quote unquote current political climate, where it seems everything is super divisive and everything comes back to left versus right. So I think that this is something that really proves no scientific value, I guess, and no moral value. Omicron doesn't really care about the vaccine, so mandating it will not stop the spread. We know the vaccine doesn't stop spreading from Omicron. I'm sorry. We know the vaccine does not stop the spreading of Omicron, so why continue to enforce the mandate? And the typical argument against, why you shouldn't or why you should have the mandate is because, you're going to increase hospitalizations at a drastic rate. But if we look through the data for the past couple months, there have been no meaningful impact on the U.S. ICU capacity due to, unvaccinated people from Omicron. And that's it for me.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Montreal player.
I think given the massive sample of COVID vaccines out, I think it's very unlikely it's unsafe. So just to get off the table, as far as mandates go, I suppose I would support mandates for localized groups, but not on like a national or a broader level. Just because I don't think the people who would enforce those actually have they have more wheels turning than just people's health, and I don't feel like I can trust things from that end. Also, I really dislike on that scale how it's being sold. I guess I'll talk about that later. But what I've seen, and I feel like it's kind of leading up to vaccine mandates, and honestly, I think it's a little fucked up. But other than that, that's it. I'll be talking, I guess, specifically about where I think it's good and where I think it fails in terms of the Quebec situation because hospitalizations are the main problem here, especially with like the healthcare system we have and how they reman it and stuff. So I guess that'll be the scope of what I talk about. Also because I'm more familiar with that than just broad generalized, I guess, prescriptions for people, which I don't usually engage in. I think that's it. I think that's it for me as an opening statement.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Trix.
So my take on this. Sorry, I have to mute to cough all the time because I actually think I have COVID. So I think that vaccines are really important because they lower the death rate. A lot of people that are dying are the unvaccinated. So my take on this is pretty much my city had about 200 cases in the entire state 2 weeks ago. And then we were like, okay, that's not many, and it's coming up to the holidays, and we've reached 90% vaccinated. Let's remove every single restriction we had. So we're going to open up the borders. We're going to remove capacity where there used to be only a certain amount of people allowed in a building at one time. We pretty much released everything except for masks. And we had 200 cases. Then we went through the holidays, and it's been 2 weeks, and we now have 80,000, with 30,000 of them being from last night alone. We have no tests, at least in my city. We have no tests left. We have no PCR. We have no rapids. We have no food. Everything is closed. Everyone is home with COVID. And even if you're positive, you can't even get a test to prove that. So you have to still go into work if you work in an essential job. And it's absolutely terrible. So I think that the restrictions everywhere should absolutely stay in place, or you're going to end up like Australia is at the moment, where we jumped the gun way too early and now we're fucked. Probably for the next 2 years.
All right. I'm going to throw it to HonestResearch.
Yeah, so my main concern when we're talking about vaccine mandates is whether or not they're actually effective. And it does seem that if we can put some sort of mandate in place, especially when, like we've already mentioned, it's been in place for schools, it's been in place for military and things like that in the past. But looking at the excess mortality and the massive spike in deaths in 2020, whether you believe it's COVID or not, something happened there. And I think that's an excellent argument for, hey, maybe there should be at least something in place to help mitigate this. And I'm good from there.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Mind of Z.
Okay. So let's go point by point. Is vaccine mandates effective? No. No, because it is your given right to say, okay, I want the vaccine. Okay, I don't want the vaccine. Number two is should you number two is why do I say that? Because it's your body, your choice. And it's really sad when CTV, Ranger, what he said the other night about a kid going on, a perfectly healthy kid when he walks into the ICU and you see a perfectly healthy 18-year-old goes in the ICU and sees him on a ventilator because of COVID. It hits him hard, and it should because. And I don't think we should loosen up the restrictions of the COVID because of Omicron, because we still don't know yet its full critique of what it could do versus what we don't know. There's still a lot of unknowns about it, and that's pretty much my take on it.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Buzz and Joystick.
Yeah, so when we talk about if a COVID vaccine mandate is effective, then we have to determine what effective means. I would say that effective means that more people get the vaccine, so therefore people are less likely to spread COVID. And so there's less of a likelihood of COVID mutating within your country, and we can all go back to normal once everybody's fully safe and things like that. So I would say the vaccine mandates are pretty much effective. We're already seeing high amounts of people getting vaccinated that probably would not have gotten vaccinated earlier. There are previous diseases in the past where vaccinations have proven to be effective in in the past, like say like school vaccinations, military vaccinations, things like that. Like, can you guys think about a world where, like, say if there weren't school vaccinations or military vaccinations, what side effects could come because of those things? I don't want to live in that world, you know? I want to live in a world that's back to normal, and I feel like a vaccine mandate would help us get to that point.
All right. I'm going to throw it to CTV.
Well, the fact of the matter is, and I've said this many times over the course of this past year, if we saw the kinds of effects from this pandemic that, say, like what were happening in the Middle Ages with the bubonic plague, where people were literally fucking dying out on the street, or perhaps even during the Spanish influenza back in the 1918, I believe, when that one hit. Right? So we had 50 to 60 million Americans die during that time, right? We haven't seen anywhere close to those kinds of numbers. So since we haven't seen anywhere close to those kinds of numbers, we haven't also seen the effects that we would have seen then. Then it was very obvious to people that, like, yeah, we need to be making sure that we're doing this shit. However, you bring it here to the fucking 21st century and the people see, you know, the numbers that they're seeing and the effects that they're having in their community, and then they just weigh it out and go, everybody's going to end up getting sick from this thing. So at some point, whether it's via a vaccine or it's you catching it naturally, you're going to probably end up having to deal with this thing. So I think that in this situation, that the people themselves can decide how they want to approach the situation, because it doesn't seem like that this thing is discriminated on who it makes sick and who it don't. It does seem that there is some preconditions to people that have them have a certain reaction to the thing. Versus another person, right? But overall, everybody's going to end up getting sick. So since that's the case, mandating people's, losses of their civil liberties in this case doesn't seem justifiable to me.
All right. I'm going to throw it to A4Andre.
Yo, well, I fucking forgot what the original question is because CTV is so charismatic. What? I'm not going to reply to CTV. Will you repeat? Can we just is the mandate effective? Will you hit me with like just a quick bullet point? Because I'm going to yell at CTV, but I'll wait till we open the floor.
Are vaccine mandates effective in the current political climate? Are the new CDC quarantine guidelines sufficient or necessary? With the Omicron variant being described as mild or less severe, is it time to loosen restriction and get back to normalcy?
Okay, sorry. Thank you for rephrasing. Yeah, our vaccine mandate's effective. I think Joystick said it really well. It's like effective in making sure people get the vaccine, and this being a net good. Yeah, sure. Certainly they're effective at this. CDC quarantine guidelines are like unnecessarily like changing and confusing. I don't know. It's like if you're Sagittarius, then you may need to get vaccine, but your like spirit is like, I don't know. I think they're kind of confusing, but I would be for stricter quarantine guidelines, and then restrictions. Do we loosen? I don't know. Probably not. I don't think we should loosen restrictions. Am I the last one? Are we gonna open this up or?
Yep. With that being said.
Yeah. Okay. So.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
No, should I hop in Montreal or
yeah, okay. So we're talking about them being effective, okay? Talking about them being effective. Clearly, I mean, they don't seem to be effective in spreading the thing. Everyone's getting it, even if they're contact. In fact, I wonder often who is spreading it more: vaccinated people who have contact with large, dense urban environments, or unvaccinated people who are, just to take an extreme, unvaccinated people who don't have a lot of points of contact with people, right, or far lesser, right, in smaller population smaller population groups. So that's it, and that's why it's like I feel like, and the other thing is that as far as like a problem, if let's say we assume everybody's going to get it, right? We still have, at least in Quebec, we still have this problem of hospitalizations, okay? We have a certain, healthcare infrastructure, all right? It's public and stuff, but it's being taxed right now. And not only that, because of the restrictions of not just masks, but all the extra steps that we have to go through to stop this spread, nurses, are getting overworked. They're burning out. They're dropping out, okay? A lot of people are retiring because they can't take it anymore. And as far as just in Quebec, even the healthcare system wasn't exactly it wasn't exactly ready to receive and running at top notch before COVID, and now they have this. It stressed the system out. honestly, I wonder if a lot of the shortcomings, okay, that are just was naturally ingrained in the healthcare system aren't going to be blamed on. Oh, well, it's COVID now. It's COVID. We don't have enough nurses. That's why, right? So that's it. As far as hospitalizations, the vaccination seems to make a huge difference, right? So, and that's it. And the difference would be to save this kind of healthcare system, at least for us in Quebec, save the healthcare system from a point where it's going to collapse and be completely ineffective. Already, people are getting denied, their surgeries, their appointments with doctors for things that are not COVID related. Okay, and it's hurting a lot of people. And so the pressure's on. They're training new nurses here, all right, but it takes 3 years to train them, and I guess they're 2 years in. They're giving a lot of money to that, but you can't just put unqualified people in the field either for this. So that's it. There's a huge logistical problem. And that's why I say, like, vaccine mandates, I would support them on a more localized level, ideally, honestly, municipal, okay, for, again, those large, dense, populated areas, and every town can decide whether or not, what their containment strategy is going to be for this, right? And so that's it. Just to sum up, it seems to not stop the spread, but if you're having problems with hospitalizations and healthcare infrastructure, it's something to consider. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, so I wanted to reply specifically to CTV. I sort of agree with. I guess some of what Montreal is saying. Montreal and CTV are talking about everyone getting COVID, and I think while this may be the case with like variants and the continued spread of this thing, that eventually maybe everyone is exposed to it. But I think we have to like get rid of this like dismissive, almost like cavalier attitude of like, well, everyone's gonna get it, because I don't think. I don't know who's listening, and hopefully folks are taking it serious at this point, because it's been years. But like the idea that like it's not the bubonic plague and the vaccine's gonna make you sick and everybody's going to get sick anyway. This is like really dangerous. I really don't think we should be talking like this. I think we still need to treat this with the respect it deserves, with the mortality rate so high. I think it's disingenuous, if not dangerous, to talk in this way.
Well, it's not.
Wait. CTV,
sure, I was largely.
Real quick, I want to phrase
just one little,
Okay. Go ahead after that, CTV. If that's
okay,
short,
just one little thing. I wasn't using the worst case. I was using it as a worst case scenario that everyone gets COVID,
sure,
to, I guess, put an extreme to my thing. I'm not saying I think that's going to happen. Okay, because I don't actually know. Thank you. That's it.
All right, CTV, and after that, HonestResearch.
Yeah, it's not that there's a lots of respect for what it can do, but it is an understanding that like this thing doesn't discriminate when, as to who did it goes to, and more than likely, everyone's going to end up having to deal with this thing. So whether or not the government, and I would say that Montreal is hitting the nail on the head as far as government control, needs to be at the municipal level, as close to the individual as possible. That way you don't end up with overarching state policies that end up, shutting down all trade and commerce to places, and then people end up losing their livelihoods. You definitely, in a situation like this, want it handled much more locally than even a state level, right? County would be about as big, because at least in that way you're going to have communication between counties and surrounding areas. If there's places in the state, then the state can then assist in moving resources to a given area, but it's got to be handled at the how shall we say, the mandate level, at the most local municipal level possible.
I'm gonna jump in and out like double dutch, because I know Trix and others want to talk, but I do think it does discriminate. The idea that it doesn't and everybody gets it is just silly. Those who wear masks and social distance, obviously, right? Like this is sort of a discrimination. These folks aren't getting sick in the way that others are. So
that wasn't mine and my wife's experience. I wasn't wearing a mask, and she was religious about wearing a mask.
That's just she's the one that. So
I'm just telling you.
When we're talking about anecdotes versus data, right?
Okay,
right,
so how does data collected?
Sure, you ask a large group of individuals, right? Like you survey a population of people, but you're just one. You and your wife are a lovely couple,
and I happen to be the one sitting in this chair with the fucking camera and the microphone talking.
Right. So this morning I had a cup of noodles, but what the fuck does that have to do with anything? That's just my story, and I'm
telling you direct evidence from my life. Right. Take that for what you will. Don't try to discount it though. Otherwise, you're going to end up seeing
I'm accurately counting it. It's two people.
Wait, hold on. I want to phrase to HonestResearch after that, Trix, and Buzz and Joystick if you want to talk.
I 100% want to say that anecdotes are valid, but that's because they're data points in a data set. So actually what I specifically wanted to talk about was the fact that we first got our initial spike here in the US. Sorry, I'm going to talk about the US because those are the numbers I'm most familiar with. But in March and April of the 2019-2020 flu season. And then we look over at February after everyone started getting the vaccine and deaths started dropping like crazy. So it seems that it has a correlation. While your anecdote is 100% valid and it does happen. I know people who were vaccinated, had COVID, and then still got COVID again. It happens, but that doesn't mean that it isn't effective and it isn't doing its job. All right.
All right, Trix.
There is 110%. Oh my god. There is 110% data to back up the fact that a majority of the people dying to COVID, like a strong majority of them, aren't vaccinated. So while it doesn't stop you getting COVID, it certainly stops like some of the major side effects, and it certainly lessens it a bit. A lot of the people who are vaccinated with COVID are asymptomatic. But also, oh my god, like the idea of that it should be handled locally, and that the COVID situation should absolutely be handled at a national level for each country. And the fact that it isn't is honestly disgusting, and I hate that it is being sectioned off into like, well, each state can do its own thing, and then from there, people are even doing like, you're like saying like counties and shit can do their, what the fuck? No, this is a massive problem. Why should it be brought down that, I'm not done. Why should it be brought down that much? And it's reaching the point where it's like, well, now it's just like, let's ease restrictions and have each individual person can mandate their own thing. Like if they want to do this or that, and each business can choose their own rules for entry and stuff.
No.
That's why this hasn't finished, because people are being left to their own things to choose for themselves. And call me fucking like dictatorship or whatever, but I think we should be we should be principling this more, and we should be enforcing more rules, because like we had state level rules, and when they left and we went down to a local level, we've had an outbreak of 80,000. I think that leaving it down to the individual person, or like the smaller you make it, the worse it is, because then also it places the weight of like all these choices and all of these like oh well, it's up to you. Why is the weight of COVID being left to me? Why is it being left to the individual person? This should be handled by the government and the people we pay to handle this.
So the fact of the matter is
we have a list. I want Buzz and Joystick. Buzz and Joysticks have been waiting to talk. So yeah, go ahead. And after that, I want to open it again. So CTV, you'll be able to answer.
She's being saved for the moment.
Yeah, the homie Tricks. He put it down. He put it down.
He, they, no she.
Yeah, so the homie Tricks put it down. I was gonna say we're all in this together. We're the Zac Efron. All right, so that's pretty much all in it. Yeah. Honest research got it. All in this together. All right. Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say.
All right. Yeah, CTV, you wanted to answer?
Okay, good. So everybody heard what Trix had to say, right? So this right here is a clear example of the type of ideology, big word, ideology, right, that you get from a people that have grown up generationally as a prison colony, okay? They're used to having overlords tell them exactly what to do, right? They're used to Big Daddy government coming down and telling them. That's why she would attempt to push down the idea of the states, right? And like delegitimize the structures of government that we have here in these United States, okay? Nationally, no. State level, that's where the Constitution kicks it back to via the 10th Amendment, right? So I don't know, like, how you guys decide that you want to do over there in Australia. I'm more than happy letting you do whatever you want over there in Australia, instead of us taking the world's most powerful military over there, right, and showing you what a real prison colony can look like.
Oh, you did not just call us a prison colony. What the fuck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Genuinely.
I'm sorry. In Canada, we have all the provinces manage the healthcare. Okay, they're working independently of each other, and they've pretty much all adopted kind of the same rules. You know, vaxi codes kind of everywhere, mask mandates, stuff like that. It's not like people are able to make decisions because they don't want to kill their own people. Okay, and the fact that we don't trust people, okay, to want to have a stake in their own lives. I know there's some politics in there. I know there's some fuckery, but generally people want to live, and they elect people who will, fix things for them. Okay, the vaccines and stuff are still very popular, okay, but we leave it up to localized governments, and it works. Nobody who wants to die except for dumb internet reasons, okay. Yeah, and it's weird. It's why do we not trust people? Why do you not trust people to want to save their own lives? Why does it have to be someone who dictates and strong arms everything? I mean, I know it takes a little longer. I know people disagree, okay, but as a general rule, I think we all like to live, you know. So why not give people that ability? Okay, that's it. I'm done.
I wanted to throw it to Volp. I know you've been trying to talk. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so a couple things. I kind of just want to bounce off what CTV and Montreal are kind of saying, and then kind of address something Trixie said. Well, you have like these 80,000 cases you said in one day after being locked down for I don't really know how long, but you also say you have 90% vaccination rate, and then once you release the lockdown, you have this mass spreading event. So it's like in the sense of like stopping the spread, the vaccine is proven in that case, right? I guess it's an anecdotal example, but like it's not effective in stopping the spread. So I think like, you know, the more effective things such as masking and social distancing, in my opinion, are what needs to be pushed, as opposed to mandating everyone get a vaccine on a level that is unprecedented. So I'm not sure. And with the proof that it's not really that effective in stopping the spread, what's the point aside from just like wanting to prove your morality over someone? Why do you need to take the personal choice out of it, right? Because the person who is vaccinated is proven to be protected from the virus and protected from hospitalization. So if you are in a situation like we are in New York, for example, where the hospitals are not overran by infection, what is the need to mandate that everyone gets a vaccine? Well, it's not efficient. It's not effective. So it's just a virtue signal, in my opinion. And I'll pass it off.
Trix,
Can I reply to that?
Yeah.
So basically, I get what you're saying, but my thing is like, while we had 90%, the reason why it spread is because that 10% that didn't care about getting vaccinated, they were the ones that initially were like, oh, well then we're gonna go traveling, we're gonna like ignore like this and that, and we're just gonna go meet everyone, and that's kind of how it spread. But I think that the fact that we got 90% before we released the restrictions, that was always the plan, because now as a result, if you look at it compared to when America first started and their COVID numbers and their death rate, our death rate and even our hospitalization rate is incredibly low, because even though it's spreading, it's not like deadly and all and stuff, you know what I mean? Like the symptoms aren't as bad. Also the way that COVID spreads is pretty much an unvaccinated person can give the virus to me, but it's much harder for me being double vaxxed to spread that virus to other double vaxxed people. So it kind of stops at that person. But the problem is the people who aren't vaxxed are the ones who are going outside, and they're the ones who are traveling all the time, and they're the ones who are ignoring, because we don't have any social distancing or anything now, because that was part of the restrictions being lifted. But I do reckon that part of COVID isn't just vaccinations, and we need to reinforce capacity limits on places, and we need to mask mandate, all that shit.
There are tons of people who...
Real quick, CTV, what the fuck was your reply? I had a decent take, and then you were like, hey, prison colony Australia.
America's gonna come over with the largest military.
Yeah, I just completely dismantled your...
You didn't. You didn't actually have a response.
I completely dismantled your entire argument because you were calling for big daddy government, and I'm telling you what American values are here, right? And these are specifically the numbers that we're talking about, and you don't get to just destructure the whole government to suit you for one particular purpose. We have a constitution for a reason. The 10th Amendment spells it out that this issue goes to the states, right? Point blank, period, in a fucking discussion. I don't know what to tell you.
Wait, speaking of the Constitution, this is something I actually specifically wanted to address. Okay, so again, America, but when we're talking about the Constitution specifically, you're right. Specifically, Volp was talking about a blanket mandate was blocked by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. The power balances are still happening. It doesn't mean that there shouldn't be another attempt, a less blanket vaccine mandate in the private sector through OSHA.
But can someone tell me what the point is of that? What is it going to do to
reduce
stop this?
death and infections?
You can't do that through
Okay, but
OSHA
that is a
because it's a
personal
federal
choice.
organization.
Right, you're personally
specifically
choosing
what
to
the
get the
court-
vaccine.
Okay.
the fact is, the easiest and fastest way to do it.
Oh, one at a time, please. I want Volk to finish his point, and after that, Buzz and Joystick.
So my point is just, what is the point of forcing somebody who doesn't want to get vaccinated when they are taking the risk themselves? We all live in a life of taking constant risks every single day. So if somebody is comfortable with the risk in a situation where the hospitals are not overrun, why do you have to force them to get the vaccine? I'm specifically asking honestly.
Who are old enough that the vaccine.
Sorry. I want to let Buzz respond, and after that, you can go.
Yeah, so to address Wolf's point, I said it earlier, we're all in this together, man. So when people choose to not get the vaccine, they're more likely to spread it. They're more likely to take up a hospital bed in a friggin' ICU. They're more likely to just, like, fuck up their coworkers just by spreading it to them, you know? So it's their individual choice affects everybody around them potentially. That's why it matters. Like, we're in this collectively. Like it's kind of like, I know the drunk driving comparison is like kind of played out with you guys, with the conservatives, but it's still very fair, where like someone else's choice on what they do with their own body can affect others in some sort of way. If you guys Google Orlando boil water COVID, my county in Orlando almost went on a boil water notice because we didn't have enough liquid oxygen to clean our water. Like, that is how COVID affects us. It was due to COVID, yeah. So I don't want to boil my freaking water like I'm in some sort of like backwaters country. No offense to other people in different countries, but I want to be over this shit, right? So when we say, oh, it's just an individual decision, you're virtue signaling. No, it's not a virtue signal. There are real life consequences. I don't want to drink unboiled water if I like water that I have to freaking boil. All right, damn. All right.
Then protect yourself.
On to that really quickly.
Wait, I protect myself against a water shortage? How do I protect myself against a water shortage?
Well,
how do I do that?
But why is that relevant?
Wait,
why is that? I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I want to pray to HonestResearch, and after that, Montreal. And after that, I want to open it a little bit more and give the hands up as the last result, basically.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
The shouting.
One of the main things that people don't address when we talk about drunk driving is it's not just, okay, drunk driving is illegal. It's also, imagine if the other person wasn't allowed to have a seatbelt. That's the problem, is some people aren't able to get vaccinated. Some people are still in such a high risk category that even if they are just vaccinated, it can still put them at risk. And that's pretty much all.
But even if you're vaccinated, you can still spread it.
Montreal,
You can still spread it, but the chance is greatly reduced.
Dude, look at the vaccine. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's fine.
Yeah, so I just looked at the Mayo Clinic. You're right.
No,
vaccinated people can still spread it. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna. I want to be polite and let things finish, but I could shout in if that's what you want me to do. That's fine.
I apologize.
Anyways, look, the easiest, fastest way, okay, to get this COVID thing under wraps is to take full authoritarian control, okay, and execute all the measures, okay, that are needed to reduce this spread until the infrastructure can start accommodating it. Unfortunately, the reason I don't like that is because I don't like what you would have to do to actually make it happen properly, okay? I think a system like that, if it stays, okay, in the wrong hands, and it will eventually get in the wrong hands, okay, could be very dangerous for everybody, okay, and for our long-term continued look, yeah, it's for our long-term continued development. I don't think it's a good place to go, honestly. All right, and yeah, that's it. I think. Have you seen them? Have you seen it try to sell it? The language has become really like, hey, unvaccinated people are kind of like not subhuman, right? For what they do, they're killing people. They're literally killing people because of the congestion and this and that and all kinds of things, right? And they're horrible things that need to be spread out. What are they saying? They're not citizens anymore. I want to piss them off. Is that what Macron was memed for saying? Okay, Justin Trudeau too. You know, he talks about. The unvaccinated, and they believe in QAnon, and they're misogynistic and they're sexist. The truth is, there's a lot of people who, because of reasons that may involve trust in institutions that have not been nice to people or people like them in the past, maybe they just don't trust it. There's a bunch of reasons to be kind of hesitant, okay, that make people hesitant. And whatever, I don't want to judge other people's reality. So whatever it is,
which institution are you trusting? I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, a lot of people don't. Oh, okay. There's a bunch of people who think that the government shouldn't have this much power. Okay, there's a bunch of people who think that big pharma is going to take over too many have too many close relations, more close beefed up relations with the government. Kind of like
is that for a reason for us not to get the vaccine, though?
No. I'm just saying there's a bunch of reasons people think, okay, that are real to them, all right, that this thing shouldn't, we shouldn't give full authoritarian power to people who are so detached from your existence, who don't care. They have other wheels turning. Right. And that makes people it makes people hesitant. On top of that, we don't have a lot of trust in the institutions that are telling us to do this. Okay. Because
you don't trust like every medical institution across the globe?
I trust them to look. I trust them. I don't think they're intentionally doing a bad job or something like that. I don't think they're intentionally trying to manipulate people. Okay, but they're humans. Okay, they have other agendas that they
every medical institution across the globe.
Yes, as if you imagine it as if it was like an entity of medical institutions. It still has proclivities. If you picture it as its own entity.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, I just wanted to say everyone can jump in if you want. Just try to be respectful, like if you see that people are talking, don't try to like overtalk them, but like, yeah, try to let other people jump in too, So yeah, Tricks, I see your hand raised for a while. Go ahead.
For whatever reason, I'm just going to finish up, okay? For whatever reason, okay, you're vaccine hesitant, okay? Not even vaccine like you didn't get it. There's that, okay? But if you also take it seriously, there are tons of people who are vaccine hesitant but still take COVID very seriously, okay? They distance, they take measures, they wear their masks, they don't want to spread it, they reduce their points of contacts because they can, right? And I don't think those people should be attributed with the demonizing qualities that it's being sold to make this, to generate anger, to make this happen more expeditiously.
What if we institute? Oh
yeah. Andre, go ahead after that, Trix.
Oh well, I'm really good at this. I bounce in and out, so Trix will be up instantaneously. What if we institute a volume control thing where you don't yell, and also a shot clock where you don't talk for like 5 minutes? Since there's so many people on the panel, and I'm not targeting anyone in particular, I just think like this. Go ahead, Trix. It's really quick.
Yeah, I talked for a long time. Sorry.
So my thing is I've never heard of the drunk driving take, but I'm thinking of the vaccine mandate more as the seatbelt mandate in like this, I think it was like the 70s or 80s, so it was like ages ago, where pretty much the people, they were like, hey, you have to wear seatbelts, and people were like, but it's my choice not to. If I'm going to get into a car wreck anyway, like seatbelts aren't going to stop me dying, and it's like, yeah, but they lessen it quite a bit.
So you could
I think it is way better to liken the vaccine mandate to the seatbelt mandate, because when the seatbelt mandate came out, there was a massive uproar of, hey, I'm not going to do it. It's my personal choice. I'm going to get into a car wreck anyway, and it helps, but I don't think it helps enough for me to warrant like violating my right.
Here's the problem, Trix. If you wear your seatbelt and you tell others to wear their seatbelt, it's not that you care about your safety and their safety. It's that you're virtue signaling, and I know all about it because I'm a vegan. I love the virtue signal. I'm better than everybody on this panel. That's what it is.
Yeah, so the
my
reason why
virtue is less death. Sorry.
The reason why your correlation doesn't actually work is because wearing a seatbelt is just tantamount to basic operation of the vehicle itself versus the mandate that you would versus the difference here, right, is that my body is something that I was born into, right? And then like I'm not, trying to do anything other than operate my body, which I don't need the fucking government's help with. My body will operate without the government. As a matter of fact, I'd argue that for hundreds of thousands of years, humans' bodies were operating without fucking governments, right? So I don't need the government to do this now, right? And that's why correlating it to driving is disingenuous, because you can't correlate the operation of the vehicle to me just being alive.
But it didn't used to be the operation of the vehicle. You can still turn on a car and you can drive to your destination without using a seatbelt. It's not like the car physically won't turn on unless it's plugged in.
You kidding me? It keeps making that fucking annoying beeping every time I get in the motherfucker.
You can take the seatbelt off at any time.
You can plug it in and you can sit in front of it. There is no. That's the only way that you can liken it, is you can wear your seatbelt, but others will just choose not to. And even if you say, hey, but it proves that getting vaccinated significantly lowers the death count and wearing your seatbelt significantly lowers the death count, people are still like, yeah, but my body.
So standard operating procedure, CTV, were you vaccinated against like polio or measles or mumps? Did your parents put you in that car seat and take care of you, or was that like a seatbelt you also didn't want? Your
Well,
body.
actually, when I was growing up, we had a Pontiac 6000, right? If you remember those.
You rub dirt on it. Yeah.
No, I was actually. I remember one night my dad got pulled over by a state trooper, and I was actually asleep in the back window, right? Because back in the day, right, we actually lived life instead of being scared all the time.
Did you
don't know. I
get
like
the
my
polio Hold on, wasn't my question about the polio vaccine, not your Tamagotchi? What?
That was last topic. I don't know if you are familiar that we're talking about COVID now, right? But that was.
But you're not keeping up to my question. I just asked you about polio, measles, and
Andre's such
mumps.
a boomer. He's still back at Tamagotchi. Jesus. Get with it.
Listen, old folks can't keep up. The Tamagotchi was a reference to you not keeping up. I asked you about polio, measles, and mumps, and if you were vaccinated.
Right. So the question you actually asked a two-part question, right? Which then had to do with both specifically being vaccinated and with seatbelts, because you did ask about that in the car seat. Remember that exactly 2 parts. So I chose to answer a part. Now I'll choose to answer this part, right? So yeah, I've gotten fucking lots of vaccines over the year. I had to get them to go to school. Got a whole fucking slew of shit whenever I
operating procedure,
baby, right?
Like the seatbelt, you had to get those.
Yeah, but the difference here is that in this instance, like I said to begin with, if we saw numbers that like we saw during the Spanish influenza, right, or during the fucking bubonic plague, you wouldn't be sitting here having a conversation as to whether or not there should be a vaccine mandate. The whole reason why we're having a conversation is because people are not entirely convinced that they need to allow the government to control them in this way right now.
Is this an example? Critical thinking. But if it's not the bubonic plague, we might not need to vaccinate. Would that be critical thinking? I don't know if it's an example of it. I don't think it is.
How many deaths would it have to prevent?
So then why did you ask it?
No, I'm just saying the name is disingenuous, and so is the take. Like, it's not the bubonic plague, so...
I'm trying to explain to you sociology at this point, right? And you're asking me why it is that people are fighting back against the idea, and that's exactly why people are fighting back against that idea.
Okay,
you don't have to agree or disagree. I don't really give a fuck either way, but the fact of the matter is that if people, right, saw the types of shit that was happening then, now, we wouldn't even be having a conversation as to whether or not people were willing to give up civil liberties to their body to the government in this instance.
People don't trust.
It's not enough. Wait. It's not enough death, right? It needs more people need to die for us to take this serious. Is what you're saying?
I'm saying that when that starts happening, you'll see the minds of people change to start taking the thing to the serious degree that it would be at if you had those numbers then. But right now,
it's worse than the Black Death. It's worse than the plague.
Wait,
the
but
numbers
what
are
is
higher.
the?
Yeah, but we're number level, but the death rate is not nearly.
There's more people in the world, and we're interconnected like never before.
What if people don't get on board if the numbers were to go up? What that's kind of the question, is whether or not we should have the vaccine mandates just in general. Like what is the I'm asking you, what is the number that you would need to have before we break that barrier?
Seriously? Like what do you want? Like 500? There, 500. Is 500 lives not worth something to you?
Okay, we're way past that. So that's my question to you.
Right. That's the point we're trying to make. That's the point we're trying to make, right? Yeah. What numbers? Because if we keep bringing up the bubonic plague, what number would be worthy of a mandate? What number would bring you onto this team?
I don't think it's necessarily a number, but it's more of like if you had like violently ill symptoms, like more open and visible and shocking, like the Black Plague, I think it'd be
fatal
more.
Symptoms?
I'm sorry.
Like fatal symptoms?
Yeah. Oh man.
So is this like the feelings that were happening? So like, did it have like scarier symptoms, you'd care more, but like because the feelings aren't that scary, you don't care as much?
Well,
How many
what's the last thing that was required of vaccine mandate in this country at a scale that you guys are presenting for COVID? What's the?
Wait,
I'm sorry.
quick.
Polio.
Mr. Geek, were you
No,
moderating?
Go ahead.
Well, from what I saw, the polio was not. Let me not speak on this part of it actually, because what I read was smallpox, where the death rate was like 3 in 10 who got it, and that required a mass scale vaccine mandate, which is something that is much more palatable. I mean, and that's a fucked up way of saying it. I think like why again? I'm going to bring it back to this point.
So the number does matter.
I'm going to bring it back to this point. Why is it that? Why enforce a vaccine mandate when it is evident that it does not, with this new Omicron variant, it is evident that it is not slowing the spread at a rate in which enforcing masks and social distancing is. So what's the point of
But you're-
dying on the hill of a
to
vaccine?
reduce-
Wait, hold on, let me finish.
Hmm?
What is the point of dying on the hill of a vaccine mandate if you can just like settle for a mask mandate when it's actually more effective? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, the point is to reduce the number of hospitalizations so that the healthcare system doesn't crack down and break that you depend on for other things. That's the point, at least locally in Quebec here. Okay,
Yes,
and
right,
maybe
and
a lot of
that's
other places. Okay, so that's what your measure has to be. Essentially, your
Yes,
measure
I
has to
agree.
be non-burnt out nurses. Okay, non-burnt out nurses on staff is a great measure for how you're handling COVID. Okay, if you that's basically it.
Well, that's
Why
why
not both?
I kind of stated in the beginning, like the caveat is like if your hospital system is on the brink of being overrun, then it's a different story. And you can't say blanket that the entire United States hospital system is being overran because it's not. So
Sure.
why then implement a blanket a blanket mandate across the whole country?
But I think it's weird that you're proposing that we do one and not the other. Like they're somehow like, why not both?
Yeah,
Even if I agree,
all strategies
with
can
you,
use.
Real
right?
quick,
Even
I
if
want
I
to
agree
phrase
with you
to-
that if
You
Go
realize
ahead.
that they
If
go
Andre-
hand in
wait.
hand.
Sorry, if I thought you were finished. After that, finish your point. After that, I want to phrase to Buzz and Joystick.
yeah, sorry. So just to wrap up, I just think I almost agree with you. You're like almost to the point. You're saying that like social distancing and mask mandates, these things are more effective in preventing the spread. And there are areas where hospitals aren't overrun. And if we believe this to be the case, then why mandate, right? But I think you already know the reasons why the vaccine is important. And I think even if we're not talking about transmission, there is cause for like mandating. Why not both? I just don't see that one. Right? Like what? Why not?
One is injecting. I mean, I'm not trying to question it.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
sorry.
no, I'm sorry.
Buzz and
When it's
Joystick
kind of
has
irreversible.
has his hand raised for a while. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, to address Volt's point, I appreciate you, Volt, because like you're getting quote retweeted very hard right now, and you're handling very well. So I appreciate that. Just to jump onto that dog pile again. All right, so we have been to the point in the United States where hospitals have been overrun. Like this happens when we have surges. Like when we had like the alpha variant, the very first variant. Like I can think of like places in like Texas and I believe Missouri. Got to the point where they literally had to like figure out, okay, who's more likely to live, who's more likely to die, and the people that are more likely to die were just getting fucked. Like honestly, we've been there before. The point is that like when we do things like preventative measures, that prevents things like that from happening. Like I'm pretty sure I saw like a video the other day from like CBS or something like that, where like it was like an ICU nurse back in 2020. They're like, yeah, like I had to choose like between this person or that person, so I had to tell this guy's wife, yeah, we're gonna let your husband die. We're gonna let that happen because we're out of ventilators, we're out of like all this other shit in beds and shit. So these things happen, Volp. Like, and we're all in this together. Once again, where does Zac Efron? I'm gonna Corbin Blue this shit. So yeah, that was my point. Like there are consequences for everybody's individual actions. There are consequences, as that one kid said.
What are we talking about mandates? Are you talking about like it's illegal to not be vaccinated? Like you'll
I
either
believe
pay a
the
fine
Biden
or prison
vaccine
time?
mandate-
Like is that what we're talking about?
No. In the United States, Biden's mandate is more like I think like if a company has
100 employees.
100 employees,
Yeah.
Everybody has to get vaccinated by, I think the date has already passed. So people have been let go from certain jobs, especially like state and government jobs, for not being vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for it. Like open up that job market, whatever.
Real quick,
If the
sorry.
companies want to contribute in that way, why not inside their organizations? These are the rules.
I want real quick.
Yeah,
I want
but
to
you don't
pray to. Sorry, I want to pray to everyone but Triggs. I'm joking. Triggs, go ahead.
Hey, I don't know how I didn't remember this until just now, but pretty much there's a thing where you don't have to get vaccinated in Australia, but at least for my state, you don't have to get vaccinated, and your job, it depends on your employer, they can require you or not, but there's a thing now where if you're not double vaccinated, you cannot, so you can go get groceries and stuff, and there's like a list of locations you're allowed to visit. But if you do not show proof of vaccination at the door, you are not allowed in. You're not allowed in bars, nightclubs, restaurants, cinemas, hair salons, anywhere that's pretty much not doctor and grocery store.
Now
You're
alcohol and weed in Quebec, you can't get them in person.
Yeah, so pretty much it's not a vaccine mandate where it's like, oh, it's illegal to not be vaccinated. But unless you have like it's like on your phone, so because the paper ones can get faked, it's on your phone and it moves with your phone, so like you can see that it's like not just a screenshot. And unless you have an official thing that's from it gets sent from your doctor to the government app, and it says like I'm medically exempt because I have XYZ. You have to be double vaxxed to pretty much go anywhere. And so you can live a life of not being double vaxxed, but you cannot do anything. You're stuck with your house and you're stuck with the grocery store and like outdoor like parks. And that is it. And I think it's awesome. And I want to hear your takes.
All right.
And I don't want to hear anything about a prison colony.
Would you ban the grocery store? Would you ban the grocery store from unvaccinated people?
Genuinely, yeah. Because that's where it's getting spread most often because they're showing up with no masks and anything.
Let them get online groceries, right?
Yes, literally.
Yeah, it's no
All right,
extra
Marie
cost.
Antoinette.
So I think
And
you guys.
there is a thing where if you don't, so you have to be double vaccinated for certain places, and even the places where you don't have to be, like grocery store and doctor, you still have to wear a mask. But if you throw a big enough fit, you can get in anywhere.
All right. I want to
because everyone's working minimum wage.
I want to free to HonestResearch and after that vote.
So first, I want to say, Montreal, you're 100% right. I agree. We should have social programs to give everyone access to the internet. Second,
If you
when we
impose
talk
vaccine mandates, maybe you have to accommodate them.
True.
Hey, I'm saying no matter what. But when we're talking about exemptions, I actually feel the more blanket that the mandate is, I am more and more okay with different exemptions. Almost to the point where I want to say, let's have a blanket mandate and literally have philosophical exemption as part of it, because there's so many people who just aren't getting the vaccine just because they feel like they don't have time, or they're like, oh, I don't know if it's going to help me. Oh, the numbers aren't high enough here. And then they get screwed, right? So just, I'm fine if that's an exemption. We need to have some way to incentivize people to go and get the vaccine.
All
I
right,
mean,
Volp.
I think closing. Sorry.
Sorry, I want to free to Volp and after
Don't worry
that,
about
I'll
it.
open it.
You're the moderator.
Volp, go ahead. Did he crush?
Okay.
Yeah, I think it did. So yeah, Montreal.
You don't think? I mean, look, in Quebec, we've made it basically, bars, restaurants. Okay, they just did alcohol and weed, so we have a specific government-owned alcohol store, and you can't go there. It's the only place you can get hard liquor. You can still get beer at the grocery store, but the people are talking about grocery stores as well, right? And I wonder how many people it leaves out in the cold for philosophical. I mean, that's pretty hard incentive. Again, dense populated areas, living in the city or even the suburbs or something like that, you have to get it. You're in contact with people all the time, right? Those environments, it makes sense. But I mean, if you're out, kind of, you see two people maybe in the week, do you really need it? You're masking up when you do. You don't have a lot of interactions. Do we have to drag you out of your home and make it happen?
Wait, but if you're only seeing like 2 or 3 people per week, what mandate is making you need to get the vaccine?
Right, exactly. What kind of mandates? Like, I agree with some.
No. I'm saying no one is proposing a mandate where they would need to get that vaccine, right? Even the OSHA mandate from Biden wouldn't make them have to get it.
Right. Okay. So we're not talking about like it's illegal to not be non-vax. Isn't what did they do in Austria? I was going to look that up, but didn't they make it illegal to? Didn't they make it illegal to be non-vaxxed? Right, with fines and perhaps jail time if you can't pay. Is it?
Yeah, sure. Anyway. You know what? Here's our common ground. I don't think we should do that. There you go.
Yeah. So the fact of the matter is that if we didn't have instances where people that are in government power were being hypocritical, right? I.e., a good example of this would be AOC running around partying in Florida, right? Or even news media personalities like Don Lemon, right? Being hypocritical, right, when it comes to the rhetoric that they're preaching and the potential mandates that they would want to put onto the people, right, versus what it is that is good for everyone else, right? And that's where, in this case, in order, at least for me, looking at the sociology of it, you've got a lot of people that see this types of behavior and they go, well, if it was actually that serious, I wouldn't be seeing that shit going on. And therefore, their government's attempt to try to control me yet again is only an exercise in tyrannical pushes that we've been seeing by the federal government for the last 100 years in our fucking republic. So you'll have to forgive the people's notion that they actually remembered history and how, things like the Patriot Act got fucking passed. And then we end up having huge losses of rights to privacy and everything over the fucking years. So, like, these things are still fresh in the minds of everyday American citizens. And you're going to have to just like, take it with a grain of salt that the numbers aren't to the level that it would have those people that are looking outside the situation in going, if I saw this, then I would be like, yeah, let's fucking get this thing done. But since they're not seeing that, and they also see this other behavior, they're not signing on with what the government wants to do.
I keep jumping into this because I think it's kind of a silly point, and I don't know what the numbers are. You said the bubonic plague, but like what would, so assuming you're not vaccinated, I'm sorry if I'm wrong on that, but what number? What, like, you're saying if it were more serious, how serious ought it be for you and others to get?
Well, like during the
people who
Spanish. Here's a quick look. Yeah, quick look on Wikipedia for the Spanish flu, right? 25 to 50 million people is the rough estimates on there, and the numbers go anywhere from 17.5 million to 100 million people that died during the Spanish flu, right? So the numbers are not comparable because there just hasn't been as many deaths with regard to COVID. So that's kind of my point, and I think that would be, outside looking in, as a sociologist looking at it, that's what their mentality would be.
Wouldn't you say 5.4 million deaths is like a lot? Like that's a lot. Maybe it's not Spanish flu, but isn't 5.
Authoritarianism?
That's a great question, but not really related. My question again is like, I'm not saying like this is such a weird straw man that like because I think people should be vaccinated or mandated to vaccinate. I think that everyone should be like drawn out of their house in an authoritarian way and like in their underwear, like poked by 4 needles. This is like so silly, right? The mandate isn't even that heavy-handed. And again, to CTV's point, and I don't mind talking to both of you at the same time, but to CTV's point, 5.4 million is like enough. That's a good enough number, dude. I don't think it needs to be 20 million or 100 million for you to take this serious and get vaccinated. I think 5 is good. 5 million is plenty, no?
So that's a number that's good enough for you, but it's not a number good enough in the minds of the rest of the people that are affecting this.
Sure, but 20 would be right. Okay, just to be clear.
It
no,
could
no,
be.
no, don't. I like. I'm
my
asking you.
liberties
I'm
and
asking
like
you.
5
No, I'm
I'd be
talking
like,
to
yeah, okay, I'll
CTV.
take the liberties.
What is it? Is it 20? Is the number 20? What number is it?
It's going to depend on how it affects the society. And since this things came into thing, like when Spanish influenza hit, it hit hard, right? And like the numbers shot up very quickly, right? And it took a while for it to move its way back out of the population. We haven't seen that happen in that way with COVID. Therefore.
So let me apologize for ignoring your anecdote earlier, because now I want your personal opinion, like not your sociologist take, like your personal opinion. If 20 million deaths had happened, would you consider getting vaccinated? Or
I think that if in the same as my personal as
20 million, yeah, no. 30 million, 100 billion.
Okay.
So the point. No, I'm having a discussion with CTV about the severity of the issue, and it seems like to CTV this hasn't happened in a way that is serious enough for him and people who share his opinion to get vaccinated, or at least to consider mandates a net good. And I'm asking how. How big does this number have to be? How devastating? Because Spanish influenza is what he's been talking about, and I think the number he quoted was 20 million, and we're at 5 million, right? Or was it? I don't.
And specifically, what we're talking about is government control, which is where I keep the argument centered, right? Is that, the vaccine being available for people to go get, people can go get it if they wish. The government telling them to go do a thing, or they're going to, force them out of their job, right? Any number of things because of that, right? That's where like the lines get fucking drawn.
Right. And I'm asking where you would draw the line, both personally and for other people to get mandated for a vaccine. If this number hits 20
honestly,
million,
there's no way for me to answer that question, and here's why. And here's fucking why. If you want to have a conversation and get to fucking know the way that I think about the thing, I have not been alive through a pandemic like the Spanish flu for me to know what that looks like in everyday society. For me to know that, like, hey, this is the fucking thing now. We can sit here and arbitrarily come up with fucking numbers.
No, you came up with it. It was your number. It was your example. You said this thing was more
given
severe.
to be able to paint the picture of then, right? So what these societal fucking implications would be then, right?
No.
So in that situation, I would see that, like, hey, people are falling out, the fucking everything's overrun, people are dying out in the street. Yeah, it's about time the government steps in and do a thing. But since I'm not seeing doing
Sure.
that now, there's no way for me to know what the
doesn't-
fucking
so then it's-
how that's going,
so
what
then it's
number
not
it
the
is
number, it's-
in society
so
is going to
it's-
look.
So it's not the number, the scale of the event. What you're talking about is chaos. If there were chaos in your like local environment in your city, then you would do it. But you're not saying like 20 million people dying, million people dying is like relevant, right? Because you quoted the number or the event, and I just wanted to see what brought you to this conclusion and what would bring you to the conclusion again. And you're saying if you
The
go to
other
Walmart
example
and
that was
people are,
brought
like,
up was the
stealing
bubonic
water-
plague, though, right?
Sure,
real
sure,
quick,
but I'm asking.
I'm sorry to jump in. I just want to say I want to let basically you go back and forth one more time, but after that we're gonna have to go into closing statement. So
Yeah, so I'm gonna go first. I just think it's kind of like it's just weird. I want to engage with you on this point in good faith, but I don't think that you're willing to. And I think that this is my problem with it is like if we move the goalposts again and again and again, then there's no way that we could ever enforce mandate or could have mandates enforced, right? Is because I'm saying what number, what event, what would lead you to personally getting vaccinated and agreeing with a mandate happening, and you're saying, well, what about Spanish influenza? Okay, cool. I mean, I disagree, but if it were to get to this level, would you agree with the mandate, or would you?
You wouldn't need deaths.
You said you wouldn't need deaths.
No, I don't think
sorry,
so.
sorry.
I think if you could demonize the unvaccinated enough, you could.
Montreal. Since it's not my show, I think Geek wanted CTV to respond and then us to do closing statements, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So specifically, if the situation, we'll word it like this, right? If the situation was similar to bubonic plague or Spanish influenza, you wouldn't have a problem with the people allowing mandates. Now, I personally don't have a problem with states, local municipalities handling this thing. The problem comes in whenever you or the prison colony down there fucking wants to, put
It's
this
dumb.
down at the
I'm gonna get the
national
dogs in
level.
I'll be back. It's just dumb. It's not a response.
Okay.
Cop out.
All right. With that being said, we're gonna go into closing statement, and we're going to start with bars and joysticks. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, great. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for the back and forth on everything. Like, good points were raised. CTV, I think I have a few questions that I never thought about before, but you've brought those questions to my noggin. I'm gonna bring it to yours too. All right, so we're talking about the Spanish flu, right? Something that happened 100 years ago. So with the Spanish flu, it did kill a fuck ton of people, like way more than COVID's killing now. But like we have to like take into account like our standards of living, like today versus 100 years ago, are completely different. We have like higher rates of hygiene, like we're bathing more, washing our hands more, wiping our bottoms more. We are having we're seeing higher rates of nutrition. Like I don't think people are like really complaining too much about like when their next meal is coming from too much in the United States. So I wonder how much that affects like the deadliness of COVID versus the Spanish flu. I don't know if this is like a good like back and forth comparison. Like even besides like hygiene and nutrition, like even like our comfort levels have risen, right? Like I think we all get more sleep now.
Interconnectivity is much more complex as well.
Closing statement.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. So I'm just closing with this question. So pretty much I'm curious, like if COVID happened 100 years ago, do you think it'd be as deadly or possibly deadlier than the Spanish flu? I don't have the answer to that. I don't know if you do. But just like taking into account that this isn't like a one-to-one comparison between COVID and the Spanish flu. Like maybe if our nutrition and our like quality of living and life and hygiene and things like that were the same way it was 100 years ago, like maybe COVID would be deadlier. I'm not entirely sure. The reason why a lot of people live through COVID is because we have things like ventilators and like liquid oxygen. We didn't have that 100 years ago. We have vitamin C pills that we can just like buy for $5 from Walmart. We didn't have that 100 years ago. So I don't know, just take that into account when you're thinking about these things. I definitely will. I'm very curious about the answer to that. And I hope you guys are as well. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to fade to Montreal.
Oh yeah. I've been talking now. I don't know what to say. COVID's going to happen again. It's not going to be called COVID. It's going to be a different thing. It's going to. I mean, look. The problem is that we're so interconnected in the world. Okay, right now, disease gets to fly on Delta Airlines, eat bad food on American. Get tossed out of which was the one that tossed out the people. Anyways, it can do that too. It travels on planes all over the place. So when we have a pandemic that spreads like this, it's worldwide. It's a whole world thing. And the measures that you would put in place to clamp down on that thing, they're permanent because we're going to need them again and again. People are going to take care of them, and we'll have institutions built around them. And when they're centralized like that, they'll be taken over by other forces that are not really, don't really have your best interest at heart. And that's it. Do you want to centralize them? I don't. That's it. As far as I forgot the other stuff we were talking about. Anyways, I think that's it. Unremarkable, I guess, closing statement from me.
All right. I'm going to fade to Mind of the.
Yeah. So the question at the start was, should mass vaccine mandates be withheld? No, because one, it's your personal body, you can choose it, and two, the government shouldn't decide what you do and not do. And it's too hard to tell at this moment whether we should. Honestly, I think we should add more hospitals, because at this point, some hospitals are being overflowed to the point where, like what Taj said, or whoever said it, that people are saying, okay, who can live, who will live, who will die. If you're gonna die, go die at your home, pretty much. So that's what I say.
All right. I'm going to fade to HonestResearch.
Yeah, so Joystick actually got me wondering what actually the death numbers were for the Spanish flu, because obviously we can't compare it with technology and the vaccines and everything like that nowadays. But according to this, the CDC reports that an estimated 675,000 Americans died during the 1918 pandemic. So that gets me a little bit curious as to whether or not that affects some people's opinions. But also I wanted to respond to something that CTV mentioned. I agree that AOC or whatever shouldn't be going out and partying. Yeah, that's dumb. And I do understand that humans are fallible and that that's going to affect someone's opinions of certain topics because they see their officials doing this. But I don't think that invalidates any arguments or any points that we've brought up. Also, I want to say I zoned out for a moment because I thought I was just listening to a Hippy Dippy podcast. I think it's really fucking cool that I'm here. So thank you. All right, I yield.
Yay.
Happy to have you on board.
Thanks for addressing my point.
I'm going to fade to Tricks.
My closing statement for this, and not addressing anyone, is basically I think that the COVID restrictions should be amplified 100-fold, and I think that they should be implemented at a national level rather than at a smaller level that a lot of people are implying. I think that vaccine mandates, it shouldn't be like, oh my god, it's illegal for you not to get the vaccine, but it should be like what we're doing, where it's, hey, you can be unvaccinated, you just can't go anywhere. Good luck having a social life. I think that lifting restrictions, especially in terms of like borders with traveling, like we just had over the major holidays, you can see that the spike can just absolutely destroy you. My city is now destroyed for the next foreseeable future. Love it. A lot of points that I made never got addressed and got dismissed as me being from a prison colony. Loved that. Really, really made sure that I had a solid point there. I think that, wear your masks, social distance, make sure that places have capacity rules. And I do think, honestly, that if the COVID happened at the time of the plague, it would have been 100 times worse and it would have decimated them. Bye, guys.
No, it stayed in Wuhan, honestly.
All right. I'm going to fade to Volp.
So first off, I just want to say that this has been really fun. We're all engaging in good faith. So to my actual closing, I want to say that I really liked what Montreal said about how a lot of unvaccinated people actually do care about COVID. They wear their masks and they social distance. So I really hate the demonization of unvaccinated people and the morality argument of being unvaccinated versus vaccinated. But I think, I'm for schools enforcing it. I'm for the military enforcing it on a scale that we have, we're familiar with in the past. But I think that I'm not really okay with vaccine mandates being pushed on a blanket level. It comes down to hospitalization rate and stuff. But again, I want to give some merit to Bars and Joysticks' point against me with by saying, it's sometimes hard to differentiate that. It's sometimes hard to like pick that apart and see exactly. And how do you implement that vaccine mandate on a level that's so hyper specific? But that's it. I'll leave it there.
All right. I'm going to throw it to A4Andre.
Yeah, I want to say, is it Honest Research? Honest Research, I think it's really cool that you're like vibing and enjoying this. I hope to see you on a bunch more panel shows. I will actually say that this is the real show. You guys don't know this, but Dylan Burns, before Dana Bo in Montreal invited me on the Recruitment show, Dylan Burns invited me on the actual Hippy Dippy show, and I said no thank you. I was not interested. But Dana Bo and Montreal are dope as fuck, and I think the show is fun, and I was happy to take this invitation, and also they blackmailed me. No, I this is a cool show, and thank you for having me on. As far as COVID vaccines and mandates, I think largely we're all coming from similar places, that we don't want to get sick, we don't want our loved ones to get sick, and also we, to a degree, don't want our lives to be controlled. And I think I can empathize with these points. I also want to give a shout out to those of you, Void and Montreal, who are empathetic to anti-vaxxers, although I'm not as much as I should be myself. I think it is dope for you to hold space for these people, because they want the same things we do, obviously.
They're humans.
Yeah, we ought respect their humanity. I disagree with CTV. I think I've already said that. I get so passionate about this because I would love to have conversations with folk that are not on the same side as me and perhaps are more right leaning. But we have to come to some agreement. And when I feel like it's disingenuine, or there is no I don't know, good faith is overused, right? But I think we have to come to some sort of consensus about when this is good and if it's ever acceptable. And if we don't, then I don't know, what's the point of having the conversations anyway? That's my opinion.
All right. And CTV.
Yeah, so the fact of the matter is that when it comes to the state level handling the issue, I don't have any problem with the state figuring out how best that they want to have, things work inside their state, right? And I don't give a fuck what the rest of the world thinks, because this is the American government structure that we work in here. And if you can't respect our form of government, then how the fuck am I supposed to respect your opinion on it moving forward from there? So, because our system is built the way that it is, this issue needs to be handled at the state level, and any person that would think that the argument is disingenuous is just trying to push control of the issue up to the federal government, which is exactly where conservatives want to hold the power of the thing at the state level. So there's no reason to be assuming disingenuousness. It's just a lack of lack of understanding of the conservative value system and why it is that they structure their takes the way that they do, because they literally want power as close to the individual as possible. So, and I count myself in that fucking camp. That's why I'm the conservative main boss. And I feel like no one has come close to defeating the argument tonight. You know what? People, go out. If you feel like you need the vaccine, go get the vaccine. If you feel like you need to wear a mask, wear a fucking mask. I haven't had any problem for the majority of my life making sure people fucking social distance from me, because, I prefer, don't be within. If you're within my arm, reach, that's pretty intimate anyway.
You live distance too, because you don't have a lot of points of contact, just like
It's true. Yeah. It's true, right? So I'd live my life kind of inside but outside society as it is. So as far as being a responsible citizen, I know that I am, and I definitely hold to the things that I say. And I feel like that if from a much bigger picture, if we saw the types of things, because I looked at the COVID numbers worldwide, I got 5.5 million people, right? And yet when I look at the Spanish influenza numbers, we've got anywhere from 17.5 million to 100 million for the fucking world, and roughly the same numbers in the United States. So I'm still not seeing big picture to that scale of event. How can these it comes down to how people perceive the things. And since people aren't perceiving the thing to be in their everyday life as bad as that, it's going to be hard for the government to convince them that yet one more right needs to be fucking handed over to the federal government instead of holding it at the state level, which is where it should be.
All right. And with that being said, that concludes this topic, and I just wanted once again to thank everyone for being here. Again, had a blast. So yeah, thank you everyone, and go ahead in everyone's chat, follow our wonderful panelists. They 100% deserve it. So yeah, and also twitch.tv/Danabo. He's doing a wonderful work behind the scene. Yeah, if you're here, it's thanks to him. So yeah. And let's go into the next topic. And before that, we're going to bring someone. I hope. Oh, he's already here. How are you doing, Frames?
What's up, motherfuckers?
Hey.
I said that on
Let this
purpose.
guy in the fucking
I
room.
said that on purpose because of Andre. He doesn't
just-
like it when I say motherfucker with the hard R.
It's so corny. I'm sorry. If you're on this panel and you're white, you say
Dude,
motherfucker.
if I was-
Weird. It's
If I
weird.
came on and said it the other way, though, I would have sounded even
True.
cornier. So
Yep. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. That's our
Yeah.
word also.
Who let this motherfucker in the room, huh?
It's like oddly racist. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
it sounds too sus.
yeah, exactly. That's why I have to go with the. Listen, I'm from West Virginia. What do you want me to do, man? I don't know what to tell you.
Don't be from West Virginia. That's what you should do.
Well, you know.
So
You
yeah,
can't- I
are
can't-
making inbreeding jokes now?
Whoa.
No one said anything
Wow.
about inbreeding. That was you. You came up with that on your own, dude. What the
Wow,
fuck?
even the
Oh,
Canadians
shit.
know about West Virginia.
okay. With that being said, so yeah, welcome, Frames. Thank you for joining us. And with that being said, we're going to jump into the last topic, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to just moderate for that one.
Or you want to switch it up?
Oh, do you wanna? Why don't you give the topic and I'll give a take and then just run? Is that cool? Because I think Frames is gonna take my spot anyway, right?
Oh god! If Andre does that, he gives a take and runs. He knows I'm gonna be in his chat later.
All right, let me
Fucking
start the
bitching
topic
at him
that
about
way
it.
you can give your take and everything. So yeah, Pizza Debate 2.0. As decided during the... Fuck you, Danabo. As decided during the last pizza debate, the crust is the most important part of pizza. What is the second most important part? Sauce or toppings? And what is the worst part? And what is the worst pizza topping? And why is it anchovies?
Ooh. Yeah, I'd like to
with
give a
that,
couple
yeah.
bad pizza takes. Yeah, let me give a couple bad pizza takes and get out of here. Yeah, so as an annoying vegan, I eat pizza without cheese. Ugh, there's some vegan cheeses out there. I wouldn't recommend them. They all taste funny. Fun fact, originally pizza was made without cheese. So if you look into the origins of it, it didn't have cheese. It's not a thing that's super important. Also, what's delicious on pizza is pineapples. And if you disagree, you're fucking wrong. It's so good. Fuck you, pay me. Also, I don't need any more follows. Don't come to my channel and follow me. Don't come to my channel talking about how many deaths is enough. I don't give a fuck about your political opinions. I have a business channel. Come to my channel if you have money. I already have 30,000 followers. But if you do want to follow somebody, I'd give a huge shout out to Mr. Geek and a huge shout out to Danabo. Even though Danabo borrows the topics from my stream and recycles them here, it's still a great panel. Geek is still a great host. Follow them. Yeah, help those channels grow. Also, Dylan Burns, make your show as fun as this one, because this one's more fun. I've done both. This one's way more fun. Dylan Burns, level it up. This is pay these guys, get like them. I'm out. I love you guys. Thank you. Mwah. Bye.
Thank you.
Never
for
mind.
joining
I'm
us,
glad
Andre.
he's leaving.
Nice meeting you, Andre.
All right.
Fucking
So,
talking shit on cheese. This is bullshit. I didn't sign up
Frames,
for
go ahead,
this.
Give your take.
Well, first off, Danabo is 100% correct. If he's the one who wrote the question, the crust is the best part. You can strip everything off and still eat the crust. Also, anchovies sound like a very, I don't know, canned fish on my pizza. That sounds fucking disgusting. Throw it away. I'm not going to eat a tuna pizza. I'm not going to eat an anchovy pizza. I'm not going to eat a strummen pizza. Keep it all the fuck away from it. No fish on my pizza. All right? I don't know how anyone can argue with this. I can't imagine this topic lasting more than 10 minutes because obviously anchovies are disgusting. Oh, the other thing, I had to pick one more thing. Definitely the sauce. Absolutely. I can eat a pizza without cheese. I cannot eat a pizza that is just bread and cheese. So, absolutely.
Sorry. I'm going to afraid to tricks.
I first of all, the question is wrong because I hate crust. I think crust is the worst part of the pizza. In total, like you could put anything on it, and I'll be like, it's a pizza. And then if you're like, here's the crust. I'll be like, I'm not eating the garbage. You can throw that away, please. I think that pineapple is the best topping, and I agree that anchovies is the worst. But there is even worse than that, is people like weird aunts who are like, oh yeah, we're gonna make it healthy. Here's some fucking eggplant. Here's some carrot. Once you get into like niche vegetables on pizza, it's a salad, and I think it's wrong. I don't really have many pizza takes because I fucking hate pizza. I don't eat it. I hate it.
Oh my god, that must be because you come from a
Fucking
prison
hates
colony.
pizza, fucking hates human. Holy shit.
I still need to hear all of your shitty takes. All right, Buzz and Choice takes, go.
All right, I think I have the best take on the panel regarding pizza. All right, so I think pizza sauce is very overrated. That tomatoey bullshit is some bullshit, bro. Like you can replace that with so many other things. You can replace it with barbecue sauce. You can replace it with Chick-fil-A's Polynesian sauce. You can replace it with creamy Alfredo or ranch or even pesto. You can replace the pizza sauce of literally any other sauce besides mustard and mayonnaise and things like that. But like, yeah, pizza sauce is mad overrated. And then once you get rid of the pizza sauce and replace it with like a nice sweet barbecues and sky's the limit on that one. You can add bacon to it. You can add like little burger pieces to it. You can add like spinach and pepperonis. Yeah, just fuck the pizza sauce. Replace it. That's my take.
Volp, go ahead.
All right, well, you might be more pissed off, Mr. Geek, about my take. So I'm gonna have to kind of agree with Bars and Joysticks here. You know, you got stuff like chicken bacon ranch pizza. You have a white slice, like with ricotta cheese and stuff like that. So you could easily make the argument that the sauce could be the first thing to go off the pizza. But to say what's the second most important, I'd be curious if we're gonna make a differentiation between like the crust itself, like, you know, like the piece of crust versus like the underside of the pizza, right? Because then that comes into the crust is like cooking. Your cooking time is going to determine like the nice crunchiness of your crust, but your dough recipe is also going to determine, you know, how rigid it is and the nice flavor that it brings. So I would argue to say that the dough in itself is the number 2 most important thing aside from the crust. I'll leave now if you want.
Mind of Zico. I rather not speak right now.
Okay, first off, I'm having a brain aneurysm from the last two takes. Number 1, the sauce is the most important part of the pizza. Number 2, pineapple does not belong on pizza. And number 3, why the fuck should we have fish on pizza? If we want to have a seafood pizza for weirdos like other people who like anchovies on pizza, for fuck's sake. That's my take.
Sorry, it's out fun. Who did I forget so far? All right, HonestResearch, go. And Montreal after.
I kind of want to try calamari on pizza. I yield.
It's good. It's really good.
Montreal, go ahead.
Yeah, favorite topping on a pizza. I mean, how can you have one favorite? There's so many different combinations. Sometimes different things are the star. Try some variety in your life. The worst topping on a pizza has to be your worst enemy's fecal matter. I can't think of a worse topping for pizza. It tastes disgusting and makes me feel terrible in other ways. And I think that's probably by far the worst pizza experience you could possibly have, by having your worst enemy's fecal matter on your pizza. Yeah, that's it.
My worst enemy is yeast, so beer. And beer cheese pizza isn't so bad.
Oh,
sorry,
that's interesting. That's an interesting one, but I like that.
We're still in the opening. CTV, go.
So I think it's obvious, right, to anybody that's not a communist, right? It's motherfucking, you know, sauce, cheese, pepperoni, and or sausage. Okay, it's a classic American pizza, right? We fucking culturally appropriated it years ago, right? So get the fuck over yourselves. It's now American.
It immigrated. Okay? It immigrated to America.
Yeah. So it's here, right? This is where it was born the right way, right? And now we've added variants to this thing, right? And now all of the variants have infiltrated the rest of the world, and we've been delighting tongues all over the planet. Okay, so I don't know what to tell you, but that's just how it is.
And with that being said, the floor is yours.
All right, let me go real quick. By raise of hands, who has had anchovies before?
On pizza specifically, or just by themselves?
On pizza. Right. So here's the thing. I lied on my opening statement because Danabo asked me to piss off Mr. Geek. Most people who say they don't like anchovies on pizza have never fucking had it. And to say that it doesn't belong there, it's actually like on the original pizza. It's like one of the few things that were on what we stole it from. Anchovies were a common ingredient on, or any type of fermented fish, actually, not just anchovies. Anchovies are actually really good on pizza. I recommend people try it. But I get tired every time I come on this panel and we have like a food debate, and people shit on something, then I realize they never had it. Just like my microwave cheesecake. I'm just saying.
Wow. So essentially, we're at CTV, but most base take. Everyone else is stunned silent. Got it.
Okay, if the floor's
okay.
open, I'll go.
Why calling me out as a cop out? That's
Because you didn't actually give an ingredient. You just gave something
Yeah,
different.
bro, I said calamari on pizza. You're gonna call me basic?
How about that?
CTV is like the king of giving like
make a fantastic ingredient on pizza,
and then saying that he won. It blows my mind. You gave the most milk toast generic taste ever, like pepperoni sausage and like. Never mind.
Yeah, get some flavor. Get a palate.
Yeah, grow up.
Look, just because you guys are used to eating cheap ingredients, right? And just
No,
getting
you
the
should
fucking-
eat like a 6-year-old.
You motherfuckers are probably the ones that end up with oil in your cheese instead of fucking milk. All right, that's probably the kind of shit that you're fucking on, and you don't get the quality ingredients.
You're the kind of person who only eats cheese that comes out of a plastic wrapper individually. So
no, that's sliced cheese. That's something completely different. That's not the kind of cheese that we're talking about as far as the pizza is concerned. We're talking about your motherfucking mozzarella. You know, we're talking about
That's a big word for CTV.
Hey,
I know, but aren't you sick of eating the same pizza over and over and over again? Don't you want some fucking variety once in a while? Jesus Christ. Okay,
variety, but the topic right now is pizza. It's pizza right now. I don't know what to tell you.
Wait.
Okay, so anchovies.
The best political strategy is to have a common enemy, right? So we should all target Trix, because she just said in my chat, help me advocate for prawns. How wrong is that?
Wow.
Okay, so hold on.
Wow.
I don't know about you guys, but prawns is like the most common ingredient in terms of like meat on pizza. It's one of the most common ingredients. Prawns on pizza, you like a cooked prawn on like a supreme or something like that, like on like a seafood pizza, incredible. But what doesn't go on the seafood pizza is anchovies, because they're just slimy and the texture. You can talk about taste. I'm not weaseling. I will advocate for prawns any day of the week. Literally,
a prawn?
It's like a big shrimp, right?
It's like this big. It's not even that big.
What is it?
I mean,
it's like a little crustacean. It's got like a little head and arms and a tail, and you take all that off.
Oh, so this is like a prison colony word. Okay, I'm learning something.
Prison colony. I'm gonna start taking shots every time CTV mentions America. Maybe that'll help.
We don't advocate.
Maybe they'll be able to understand his takes.
America is the new Australia.
I'm sorry, I'm French who invented food. Before that, you were cooking rocks, so I'm going to jump in for once.
No, you're so
French, you didn't get right.
I will mute you all. I don't care. This is over. Playtime is over. There's a new sheriff in town.
Do you have a white flag?
No. Anchovies belong on pizza. Anchovies that you preserve in salt. Why? Because they're fucking salty. You add that with a sauce, and whoever said that sauce doesn't matter on pizza, you're just a monster. You have no palate, like your taste buds are all gone. That's all I have to say. Sauce is essential on pizza. And like when you put a tomato basis with some anchovies, which are super salty, the tomato sauce will absorb the salt. So you get this smoky, like salty flavor from the anchovies, and you get anchovies that are good and not slimy and everything. That's why anchovies belong on pizza. That's why sauce is like the most essential part. I yield. Frips, go ahead.
All right.
Sorry.
I want to say
before you talk about the angry Frenchman.
Before you talk about how like French invented cooking, French cuisine is just food that they stole from Italy. By the way, just want to throw that out there for you.
Wrong.
Immigrated.
Look it up. The culinary arts. I wouldn't even say immigrated. It was like it's like a cultural thing that happened when. Anyways,
ideas and techniques migrated.
You're right. Close enough.
Yeah.
So to kind of debunk the sauce take, like Mr. Geek, have you ever had like a chicken bacon ranch pizza?
No, we have.
Oh my god, I'm tired of these
about,
fucking
like, what about
anarchist
white
pizza
ranch?
takes.
This
about
bitch
white
said
pizza?
ranch.
White
You make
pizza
it-
with ricotta cheese? No?
Ricotta.
What about bacon
Ranch
cheeseburger?
does not belong on pizza.
Or barbecue bacon cheeseburger?
First of all, bacon is the most overrated shit ever.
Oh, okay. Now I can't take you seriously at all.
Yeah, Trix, why don't you like ranch?
American
Real
bacon
sauce.
is
I'm sorry,
overrated.
this is
It's all
fast
just
food,
fat.
like, yeah, I don't know.
I just want to know why
Ranch is
Trix has
not
a
a
thing
real
with
sauce.
ranch.
I think that ranch is disgusting, and I think that it's the worst sauce out of them.
Why is that?
I don't understand the obsession. I don't get it.
Is it why?
If you want a sauce like ranch, but you don't want it because it just tastes gross, just go with like a nice garlic aioli.
Have you ever had any Hidden Valley ranch?
mayonnaise?
Or is, I mean, who's manufacturing your ranch?
I've had like most common brands of ranch. Believe it or not, we have.
You know what?
We have ingredients.
I got it. They probably spoiled by the time they made it over to the prison colony.
Cop out. Thank you. I think.
Well, wait, that
Can
might
we go
actually
back
be a
to-
valid point. Shipping to Australia.
No,
sucks.
it's not. No,
Yes,
it's
it
not.
is. It does.
Don't you have any sauces indigenous to the area?
Fuck.
Yeah, wait, no.
Maybe
genuine
you can
question.
blend
No,
some
wait, I'm
prawns
curious. Is
together and
ranch
boil them with
produced in
onions or something. That would be a
Australia? Yes or
sauce.
no?
What? Hold on, honestly, I didn't hear you.
Sorry.
Is ranch produced anywhere in Australia?
Yes, we have ranch. We have food. We make food. But I've also tried like American ranch. I just don't get the hype. I don't understand the obsession.
It's because everyone over here eats like 5 years. Yeah, it's because everyone over
Yeah.
here eats like 5-year-olds. Like,
And that just kind of furthers my take on CTV having the palate of a 4-year-old.
ranch
I'm
is good for
hearing
making your
hearing
microwave
pepperoni
nuggies
pizza.
palatable.
Yeah, I'm hearing
not here for
I'm
this.
hearing pepperoni
ahead,
pizza
sorry.
and I'm hearing ranch and I'm thinking this is a 6-year-old menu at a restaurant.
I'm not here for any of this U.S. food
six-year-old-
slander. You know nothing about my professional chef background, so I'd like you to keep those comments to a minimum.
Every time I come on this fucking panel, there's a supposed professional chef, and they end up having dog shit takes still.
Oh, hey,
Why?
I
If you're a
don't plan
professional- hold on,
nothing
hold on,
to
hold
you.
on. Just because you're a professional chef doesn't mean you have good food takes. It still sounds like your food comes with a toy. I'm just saying.
Yeah, chicken bacon ranch pizza? Come on, dude.
Sure, it's like, I mean, chicken bacon ranch pizza. Sure, it's fun. To me, it just sounds like a sandwich, but I don't know. These fucking pizza anarchists, they can throw anything on round bread and call it a fucking pizza.
Well, have you ever tried it?
Yes,
Is it a
I've tried
sandwich or a
chicken bacon
salad?
ranch pizza.
And your
Yeah, I
thoughts?
think it's a Domino's.
It's okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's like, it's not great. It's not amazing. It's not like I've ever eaten like a chicken bacon ranch pizza and like, this is the best pizza I've ever had.
How about
Like-
you do real sauce and not use mayonnaise? Just saying.
Wait, what'd you say, Geek?
How about you use a real sauce and not use just like mayonnaise? Because that's what sauce like ranch sauce is. It's just mayonnaise
Yeah.
like slightly modified. That's it. Do your real sauce like creme fraiche.
Not really,
and shit,
not
all that
really.
Shit like this.
In West Virginia, we call it
I
hillbilly
can't know.
gravy.
Yeah, I can't let you get away with that, Geek. There is no correlation that can include Duke's mayonnaise. Okay, Duke's mayonnaise is by far the best mayonnaise on the fucking market. If you haven't had Duke's, I don't know what to fucking tell you. Duke's is where it's at. Now, the only question I got for you, Trix, is on this 6-year-old menu, right? Is there like turnip greens, right? Is there chicken fried steak, right? We got some motherfucking.
I'm hearing fried chicken. I'm hearing a lot of very childish things.
So food in general is a childish thing.
Mayonnaise.
Right. So the only thing that I can learn from this, right, is that obviously if you're going to be an adult in Australia, you've got to eat fucking Vegemite, right? I don't know how to.
I don't like Vegemite. I don't know anyone
but
who
you know
eats
what?
that.
It's a part of your country though, so that right there, right? So you don't like.
There's
so
a lot of your
obviously,
country that I could bring up.
obviously in your country, you're on a 6-year-old menu too. So welcome to the kiddie table. There you go.
Hold on. I'm not going to take heat from someone who just advocated for mayonnaise. You have the most vanilla palate
A
known to man.
specific brand of mayonnaise, yes, because not all mayonnaises are the same. True.
And also, the
Mayonnaise
problem is
ruins
that
chicken.
mayonnaise is like the most versatile topping on the planet. You could add anything into mayonnaise and make some kind of delicious topping.
True.
I feel like
Just use whipped
Do
cream.
you add to
Yeah,
it
yeah.
CTV or do you just have it plain?
Sorry.
Don't slander
what'd you
plain
say?
mayonnaise either, because plain
Yeah, it's
mayonnaise
just-
is delicious.
It's just eggs. It's just eggs, oil, and then some acidy thing. Maybe a little, and whatever flavor you put in it.
You guys are really advocating for mayonnaise right now.
Like Chipotle
Yeah,
mayo
but-
is like
Made
the best thing on the
Okay,
planet.
yeah, but you've added Chipotle to it. Mayonnaise
you
on
couldn't-
its own, no.
You couldn't make it. You couldn't get there without the
Bro,
mayonnaise. itself, so-
Tricks, you're wrong. I go to Walmart, I buy a jar of mayo, and I just start scooping that shit out with a spoon, okay?
See, that's no.
Oh.
Oh my god, you guys all have horrible food takes. Reams, can you back me up here?
I mean, so mayonnaise is one of those things I won't like not eat if it, I don't think mayonnaise makes anything better. I don't think it makes anything worse. Well, some things it probably makes worse. It definitely doesn't make anything better unless you add something else to it, like you guys are saying. Like, if I have mayonnaise, I'll mix it with some like sriracha or put on sushi.
Capers.
Or, what is it?
Capers, and the lemon juice. Nice little
Yeah,
lemon. Yeah,
mayonnaise-
good
But
idea.
you wouldn't have it on its own.
No. Then you're just eating lard. You're just eating like
There we go.
oil. I don't know, oil and milk. I don't know, not a fan.
I just want to point out that the topic of conversation is in fact pizza, right? Don't let Geek and his masterful ways of infiltrating your mind get you distracted with the conversation of mayonnaise. I myself was initially duped, right, in this this ploy. I just want to make sure we pointed out to everybody the topic is in fact pizza, right? And so far, CTV has the best take out of everybody. I don't know what to tell you, right? Montreal's coming in second. We've got joysticks and bars and joysticks over here. He's coming in third. And then Honest Research, of course, and Vlop, and then mine is Z, right? And at the very bottom, it's like a tie spot between Freems and Tricks. I don't know.
Just
I
want
don't
to
know
put Tricks
what.
at the bottom.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, good thing.
Wait,
Good thing
genuine question
CTV.
for CTV.
Hey, good
Genuine
thing
question.
Good thing CTV's ranking doesn't mean fuck all to me. Because if
Yeah.
you go by my ranking, it's me and Tricks, right there near the top, and then everyone else, it's kind of just gone through one and out of the other because it's just all starting to blend together in like this weird. I eat like a 6-year-old Voltron. Like you guys all came together.
Okay,
I mean,
hold on. Just
Wait.
back to Danabo, who's just posted the question in chat again. I'm just still hung up on the crust. Who the fuck eats crust?
Wait,
Who
what?
enjoys crust?
Are you shitting me? You don't know
My
about
partner
stuffed crust?
only eats crust.
Stuffed crust is just no, I'm not
No,
even gonna
How's
discuss
that
stuffed
even?
crust.
Hold on.
It's not even
Whoa,
a pizza anymore.
whoa. How is stuffed crust any different than a motherfucking breadstick with cheese in it?
If
Who
you
the
like
fuck
crust,
eats
you just
breadsticks
like
with cheese
bread.
in it?
Why wouldn't you eat breadsticks with cheese in it? Are you shitting me?
Okay, my
Wait.
thing is, if you're eating a pizza, you're eating it for the ingredients. You're not. If you wanted to eat bread, you just go get bread.
No,
Who
you're not
enjoys
wrong.
crust?
No,
Wait,
it's not a
how do
pizza
you
You're trying to
anymore.
fill yourself
explain
up.
to me how you eat a pizza? How do you eat a pizza?
Yeah. How do you eat a pizza?
How do I eat? I cut it and then I eat it from the tip down too,
What
and then I
the
stuff it.
fuck?
Wait, with a fork
Is
and
it on
everything?
bread?
No, what? You cut a
No,
pizza is a
she
fucking
sliced
circle.
it into slices, guys. Come
Oh,
on.
okay.
No, it's on
Follow.
bread.
Holy shit.
Or is it?
And then you eat it
It's just
from
a
like the
pizza
tip of
of
the
mushroom
triangle, and
pate.
but I don't eat the crust because I'm not going to fill up on bread when I've put all these incredible ingredients on it.
Yeah, but the
That's-
crust
wait.
is also what's underneath the pizza Tricks. Like, that's all the
Oh,
crust.
That's a
what they're-
base.
You need to stop
it's
like
like what they're
half an
saying
inch
when they
away
say
from
the
the
crust.
crust
It-
and then eat it.
If it's not there, it's not a pizza. It's just like a ingredient salad.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, you think of the crust of just being the end piece that does everything on
Yeah,
it.
the
They're
red.
referring to the crust as the whole thing.
But do we accept my
Liberals,
differentiation
am I right?
between the two? Do we accept my differentiation
Fuck
between
the
the
libs,
two?
you're right.
Yeah,
What was the
the crust-
differentiation?
The crust at the end, like the tip of the crust, if you will, versus like the underneath of the pizza.
Underneath, I'm calling the base.
Yeah, but it's still
Yeah,
part of
but
the crust. You don't get
Sometimes
to
the,
avoid-
yeah,
Let me
but
clear this
pizza
up. We
doesn't
can-
have
we
to
can
have
clear
a
this up
big
really
rolly
easy.
crust on the end.
Tricks. If let me. I feel like we can come together here real easy. Tricks. If you were okay, let's say that the underneath is the crust. Okay, actually, how about this? How important is the base?
Very
You-
Yeah,
As long as it's not doughy, just leave it plain. Don't try and fuck with it by adding in fancy shit.
No, exactly. The crust has to be good. right? And the crust has to be good, or else it's just
The base has to be very basic. I'm not eating a pizza for the base and the crust. I'm not eating a pizza for the bread. I'm eating it for what goes on it.
Well, you
The
can't
bread
get
can
any
be a
more
very
basic
important
than say like tree
component.
bark. You want to eat a pizza with fucking tree bark?
What?
Yeah.
I'm talking about dough. I don't know, CTV, what point you're trying to get
but
across.
you
It's not
said
really
dough
basic.
tastes better.
Maybe in Australia they eat tree bark pizzas, but I guess we're just backward here in America.
No, okay, I'm talking
New
like
York
basic
pizza is
dough.
the best.
Like people add in like different flavors and shit to the base and try and spice it up. I personally think that you eat a pizza for the ingredients you put on top of it. You don't go, damn, I'm really hungry for pizza. Love me that fancy base.
Yeah, but if you have a shit base, then your
tree bark
pizza is shit.
pizzas. Of course you hate the crust. Wow, this is what's going on.
You don't eat a pizza for the dough. Like, I don't know. Like, she's 100%
Yeah, you don't eat a
right.
pizza because you want a certain base.
There's nothing
I think some
fancy
but if
about
the base is
You
like,
eat it
I
for the
know.
my-
I had a homemade base, clearly.
Okay, so when you guys go to buy pizza, say you're ordering it online and you go, oh, damn, we've got pepperoni, we've got this, and that. Like, just most basic form of pizza. You're getting the fucking, like, flavors and shit. You
No,
go,
no,
okay,
I home make
I want-
pizza.
I want to. Okay, you're putting together a pizza and you're like, damn, here's the ingredients on top. Are you eating the pizza for the ingredients on top, or are you eating it because you're like, oh, I'm really hungry for some pizza base right now, some really good cooked dough?
Both.
Tricks, that's like the whole experience. So if you have like a garlic parmesan base of the crust, it's like a great sauce plus the cheese that's perfect and the toppings
Quality
on top.
bread.
It's a holistic experience. It's not just the one
Quality
thing on top.
bread is good.
And to add to that, it's not just right the different flavors, right? It's also right. You could have thin crust, right? You could have motherfucking deep dish, right? You could have
Deep dish is not
motherfucking
a
stuffed
pizza.
crust. You can have pan. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different type of crust, right? That you can put the pizza toppings onto. So like. I didn't realize we were going to have to get this so far into the nuance of the actual pizza, because since we're only supposed to be discussing the toppings, but apparently, right, tree bark.
First question.
Yeah, the
Apparently,
crust is in there.
Look
So the
at
crust
all
is
these
in there.
different crust options from
question.
Domino's.
Yeah, so it's obvious to
all
me,
Going
right,
back to
that
Domino's.
that,
Domino's
like
is irrelevant when it comes to pizza.
Sorry, what did you say? I
Um,
didn't hear the beginning, my dozy.
see, that's what happens whenever people are trying to talk over one another, and somebody
stop
doesn't get
it.
hurt, then nobody gets fucking heard.
okay,
You see
okay,
what
okay.
happened there?
Okay, my dozy, go.
Domino's is irrelevant when it comes to pizza. They are the worst pizza ever.
True.
Yet they still have 5 different options, so a good place must have more.
No, usually like a good pizza restaurant, they're not gonna have crust options.
Yeah.
Like you go there because of the crust. But I do want to say, I would rather have a mediocre crust than a mediocre sauce. When I sit here and think about it,
True.
like 100%. I feel like the sauce is far more important. Danabo also made me lie about that. And if you think I'm lying, go look at our last debate on pizza on Danabo's YouTube. You can hear my original thoughts when we originally had this topic. So,
That's because
yeah,
you're wrong.
the sauce is the most important. What do you say, Geek? What say you?
No, I agree with you. It's like the crust people who are like who are wrong. Like,
Yeah, I'm a sauce boss, okay?
Sauce boss too.
Unless you really fuck up the dough, there's no way that like you're gonna like send a pizza because the dough isn't really great or isn't like there's not really like many ways. Like either you undercook it or you overcook it.
Yeah.
But like besides that, like the dough is going to be the dough. That's what's on it that matters.
No one bites into a pizza and goes, oh my god, the base is the best part of this.
No, I disagree with that, but
Yeah, I would disagree with that
disagree
too.
but-
So you have a pizza, you have all your favorite toppings on it, and you eat it, and you go, you know what? I'd say the highlight of that was the
I don't
fucking
know, I
bread
think
underneath.
So if you're
It
eating like
sounds
a
like a-
real... Sorry,
That's
CTV, go
just
ahead.
Yeah, this just sounds like bread oppression now, right? I don't look. The fact of the matter is that if bread wasn't as good as it was, right, then we wouldn't have fucking all you can eat breadsticks at motherfucking Olive Garden. Okay, so fact of the matter is that fucking bread is good, right? It's a very, very, I would argue, probably the most important part of the pizza, because without a good fucking crust, you are really literally eating toppings on tree bark.
I'm gonna make a drinking
Where the
game.
fuck have you gotten tree
Hold on,
bark
hold on.
from?
I'm gonna make a
It's
drinking game
international
where,
dish.
where I take a shot every time CTV says "fact of the matter is" and then says something subjective. I'd be hammered right
Literally.
now.
CTV be like, here's a fact, I'm currently winning. Alright, good for you,
Always
buddy.
winning.
Good for you, buddy.
Always fucking winning. I don't know
Literally
what to tell you.
Literally a fucking child. I've never seen a more disingenuous debater in my life.
Really?
Wow.
I thought he's kind
Really?
of the best debater on Twitch.
So all
Okay.
I'm hearing right now is I'm gonna cry a little bit because I'm losing. Obviously, Crust is fucking based, and I just don't
Do I
want to
look
admit
upset
it.
to you?
You look a little upset.
Oh my
Look at that
God.
look. That look right there just said, you know I'm upset, motherfucker. I'm coming for you.
Okay, but my thing is, why? Okay, it's like when places give you, like, okay, everyone can talk about Olive Garden bread or whatever. When places give you bread before you eat, it's because they're trying to fill you up. Crust is just like especially like the end bit. If you eat that, you're just like filling up, and you could be using that energy on eating more of the actual pizza.
That's the
Why
You have a
would you-
dipping sauce for the
It
crust.
ties it all together right at the end.
Hold on, someone said dipping sauce for the crust?
Yeah, I
I've
usually
never
buy an
heard of
extra
this.
thing of marinara and I use it for the crust.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Prove
Free
that
breadsticks.
crust isn't enough in
Oh,
itself.
wow.
Thank you, I
Wait,
rest my
okay,
case.
so-
I think
Whoa,
that part
whoa,
of
whoa!
pizza's
Just because you put
appeal.
marinara on something doesn't make it not crust, okay? It's still my
Yeah,
favorite part of
just-
eating the pizza.
Yeah, so
Isn't
Tricks,
that
like
enough in
seriously, a minute
itself? You
ago.
need a dip.
I
Yeah,
think
Trick,
that,
People are buying all this stuff prefab from the store. Make your own food. I'm an elitist. I love making my own food, and it's so much better than your food. So
Actually,
much
back
better than
that
all
hard.
your food.
Back that up too.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's so much better to make your own homemade pizza. 100%.
I
Mm.
think that part of the appeal of
Oh, no,
pizza
pizza
is
does.
I do want
its mileage, like how
Yeah.
far you can make a pizza last. Like if you make a pizza last you 2 meals, that's freaking awesome. It doesn't have to be
Yes.
just one meal. It can be like the cold pizza in the morning, you know.
Yeah, you're talking about that struggle pizza. I get it. I'm there
The
too.
Domino's,
Sometimes I have to go for some struggle pizza. Actually, often. So I get
Pizza
that
is
too.
better when it's breakfast.
No.
Pizza is always
Early
better
one.
the next day when you like reheat it for breakfast. That's
Hey,
my
whatever-
like
whatever-
last day.
It has the
Whatever-
sweet taste of you don't have
That
to
and
make it.
Chinese
Fake
food. What I
news.
want to try is like a
Fake news.
Chinese food pizza. I want to have like an orange chicken pizza.
Just
where, like,
make it.
Really good.
Yeah, I need to
Oh,
do
yeah.
that. I need to. That's such a
Yeah,
good
it'd be
idea.
easy to do.
Sows as the base sauce.
Like,
General Tao chicken
orange.
pizza.
Wait, what's your name?
Orange
Bars and
sauce?
joysticks. I'll send you something. There is a Chinese food pizza.
There's a Chinese food pizza that sounds amazing.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Oh my god, crab rangoon crust.
Damn,
That'll probably kill you by the end of
Yeah,
it.
so-
It's like a
so
big
Trick-
fried crust.
that's mileage. It's the last meal you'll ever have.
So Trick, seriously, you're not familiar with breadsticks and marinara sauce or garlic sauce or
I am
Anything like
incredibly familiar with sauces and I'm incredibly
Uh-huh.
familiar with breadsticks. But the idea of someone finishing a pizza and then like having the crust left, like the end bit, and going, yeah, I'm gonna eat this dipped in something else, also kind of shows that it's not good on its own and it's kind of shitty unless you add something to it.
You know what? This is exactly. I'm glad that you said this specifically because this is what this tells me, right? On like, there's no way that I could ever take you serious on a take when it comes to efficiency, then, right? Because it's obvious that at the point where you're taking the crust, the end of the crust, right, and you dip it into something else and you continue to eat it, right? You're being the most efficient that you can with the limited amount of resources that the world has, instead of just putting it in a trash can and throwing it
No,
away.
You're
And-
not even listening to me.
I am listening
said
to you.
when
You
you
said you don't
take-
eat
when
the
you-
crust.
No, I said if you take pizza crust and you dip it in something else, that shows that pizza crust on its own can't be that good. So you have to
But
add
you
to
said
it
you don't
to
eat
make
pizza
it
crust, though.
palatable. Yeah, but
but
I'm
what
saying
if-
if other people have to add
Yeah, but
to
you
it.
don't.
Isn't the whole point
No.
of pizza to add things to it?
So
what
Yeah,
that's
but if
what
you've
I'm
already,
saying.
if
What
you've
if you
already
eat the
finished it
fallen
and you've already
toppings with the
cooked it,
crust?
if you already finished it, okay, if you have finished your pizza and you're done with it, and then you get to the shitty end bit and you go, damn, the only way that I can eat this right now is if I dip it in something. That shows that it's not that good.
You still dip regular breadsticks into something. I fail to see how.
Yeah, are you trying to
we
say
dip-
breadsticks
It's good,
aren't
but you know, I could put some butter
Breadsticks
on it.
on their own,
All
bread
right,
on its own,
All right. I think the crust eaters have showed that like they're not like up to the debate. So we're going to wrap it up. And we're going to start by. So first of all, before we go into a closing statement, thank you to all of you for being here. I had a blast hosting this show. Hope you enjoy being here. And yeah, for everyone in everyone's chat, go follow a wonderful guest. You know, they deserve it. Go check people's content, like outside of panels. Panels are one thing. Go see the solo content. You'll discover another side of them. So yeah, yeah. The links are in my chat. I don't know for everyone, but yeah. So let's go into closing statement. And also give yourself a shout out, tell people where they can find you, who you are, you know, and everything. And we're going to start with Tricks.
It'd be good if I could just leave it off.
Oh, okay. CTV, go ahead.
Thank you. So I want to thank everybody for showing up here tonight and being a part of the Hippy Dippy Recruitment Show, right? You've all shown a lot of character and a lot of ability to be able to be in tenseful situations and have some tense arguments, right? Because that's exactly what we've been doing tonight, and we've been having a lot of fun doing it. So thank you for being here. All of your links have been being shouted out in my chat as well at the same time. And if you've got anything you want to add to that, please feel free to do so, right? No reason for me to address like the last topic because obviously I was the most based in the room. So that said, thank you for being here. And Geek, take it away.
All right, Shakes, go ahead. Closing statement and shout out.
Hi. I don't need a closing statement. I think I spoke the most out of everyone. But I will say that I finally got my internet fixed after about a year, and I finally moved into my new place, so I am going to be streaming again, and I'm pretty much trick switch absolutely everywhere. And I don't really have anything particular to plug other than I'm very cool. And I'm going to pull a CTV and say, actually, guys, fact of the matter is, I won and you all lost. This is fact because I'm saying it.
Based. It is now a fact. Volp, go ahead.
I just wanted to say thanks for having me on here. This has been an awesome opportunity. I've been watching Hippy Dippies for a long time, and it's super cool to be on a panel with some of the people I see. But Pizza Take, I will see that the sauce is relatively important, but saying that it's the most important immediately takes off the table any kind of pizza that's not tomato sauce based, which I'm not okay with. And you can find me at HoodieVolp on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. I just got back into streaming recently, so I'm going to be going live pretty frequently. So come hang out. I like to talk politics, play some video games, drop some absolutely base takes, and that's it.
All right. I'm going to throw it to Bars and Joysticks.
Hey guys, it's Bars and Joysticks. I'm Tajman John from that channel, Bars and Joysticks. Yeah, so I'm on Twitch as Bars and Joysticks as well as YouTube as Bars and Joysticks. Not only do we do politics and debate, but we also do hip-hop commentary. So if you guys like music of all sorts, particularly hip-hop, then let's run it that way. We also do joysticks like video game joysticks. My channel mate Paco is actually talking quite a bit about the new Steam Deck console. So that's going good, and yeah, we'd love to have you over. I'm the least cool of all the guys on the channel. Everyone's fucking cool, but I'm the ambassador, so sign it up. Go to the channels. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, happy to have you on board. HonestResearch.
I just want to say, I zoned out at one point and just thought it was crazy because I realized, oh wait, I'm not just listening to this, I'm actually on it. That just was so fun to me. But also I had a really good time tonight, and I just want to say, no matter left or right, show respect to each other, because we all have a common enemy, and it's the Australians. Thank you. Good night.
True. Montreal player.
Where do I start? 19 years ago, I knocked up my girlfriend. 4 kids later, had a few laughs, made some money. Now I stream on Twitch and I talk to strangers for an hour a day, 9:30 to 11 on some weekdays. It's a hobby I do. I come smoke this joint. We have a nice, good faith conversation. I can speak from experience on parenting, building a business, getting jobs, software development, and that's it. All the rest, I'm just kind of bullshitting my opinion. But if you have questions about those things, or you like good faith conversations with some of your favorite Twitch streamers, visit me at twitch.tv/Montreal Player some weeknights, 9:30 to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Always a pleasure to have you on. Mind of Z, go ahead.
I am the Mind of Z, and you can come check me out if you want a civil conversation. Come to the Mind of Z, where I do gaming. If you want to talk about politics, come to my other channel called the U.S. Political Server, which I stream off of, which I'm currently streaming right now. Twitter is also U.S. Political Server, and if you want the Discord link, just come into my chat or DM me on Discord. Yeah.
All right, thank you for being here. Frames.
Yeah, twitch.tv/Freems. I'm a lefty from Appalachia, although I'm thinking about becoming a conservative, not because I believe in what they have to say, but because I want on more panels. Also, Bob Saget died, so rest in peace, Bob Saget.
Yeah,
wow.
rip.
It's a bummer. If you're only 90s kids will understand. I'm just kidding. Anyways, thanks for having me on. And also, I am actually the most base person on this panel right now. So,
Yeah, but
see
you
the
didn't
correction in
say,
there.
you didn't
Yeah,
say
you didn't
that's
say
a
the fact of the matter, so clearly you're fucking wrong, Freems. You're just
So
fucking
I don't
wrong.
listen. I don't have to say when it's the fact of the matter because everything I say is the fact of the matter. All right, I
Except
don't
you're
have
from
to
West
specify
Virginia.
it.
You're from West Virginia. I don't know what to tell you, bro.
Which just shows how much more I had to overcome than everyone else.
You say that, but you probably found yourself on the McCoy and not the Hatfield side of the argument. Okay?
I actually am. Devil Lance Hatfield is my four-time great uncle. I'm actually from Mingo County.
I'm not convinced, Freems.
Okay.
Listen, everyone. Never mind. I almost made a bad West Virginia joke. I was about to say we're all related from the, but I'm from Mingo County, and everyone down there is kind of related. So that's how that happened.
All right,
And then
CTV.
you wonder how the reputation happens, right? So,
CTV, you're the last one, so yeah, take it home.
outstanding. So, everybody, you can find me hanging out over in the Infinity Acre Wood. That's the name of the Discord I facilitate. We've got a lot of great people in the community. Every single one of you on this panel, I think, are a part of it. And anybody that's in the audience, you want to be a part of it, come over to the channel, hit !IAW, and jump right in. On Wednesday nights, we host a show that actually was born on New Year's night with Geek, Danabo, and Dylan all in the room, called Marvel Me With Your Bullshit or Be Disconnected. Anybody that wants to jump in on it, you jump into the waiting room. I bring you into the room. I put a poll in the chat, and the chat decides you got 5 or 10 minutes, right, depending on how many people are in the waiting room, to marvel the chat with your bullshit or be disconnected. We've done it twice now. It's been fucking a hell of a lot of fun each time. We've got people now coming in and kind of, it's almost kind of turned into a talent show, if you will. Just a lot of different, people showing up to have fun with it. It's been a lot of fun to host. And if you haven't done so already, make sure that you're hitting up Geek and Danabo, following their channel, because there's a lot of work that they both put in behind the scenes to help coordinate all these things. You can still, I think, go to Shell Shock CBD, right, and type in code Danabo and get 10% off there, right? And Freems, I see your hand. It looks very West Virginia like, and it's raising. So what's up?
I just want to say, people in my chat are saying the link to Tricks is wrong. So
okay,
Wow.
what's
I don't know if that's something you all wanted to fix or something. Just letting you know.
Absolutely.
Blame Danabo.
Damn it, Danabo.
So yeah. We're
Yeah.
going
So
to
anyway,
finish
thanks
that.
for
Go ahead.
thanks for coming. Yeah, thanks for coming in
Alright.
here tonight and being a part of the
It works for
conversation.
me.
If anybody in the audience that's out there that wants to come in and try to be a part of the Hippy Dippy world that we're facilitating here specifically, right? Let Danabo know that you are interested. Make sure you've got a good working cam and a microphone, and you too can be a part of these discussions.
Hell yeah. And that concludes this episode of the Hippy Dippy Recruitment. Thank you, everyone.